Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to puff him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Cut the music.
Seamless.
Cut the music.
We're not in a dancing mood tonight, Jimmy.
Nope, we're not.
Okay.
Josue, go back to OKC.
Get out of here,
How about
buddy.
that?
Chat ready to kill each other again, so we had to get in here quick.
Yeah, guys, we have to stick together.
Come on, guys, we can do this.
Can't turn on each other right now.
Everybody, we gotta keep your composure.
Stop freaking out.
You gotta keep your composure. I got this. I drank all of this tonight, Jimmy.
Wow, look at you.
The whole bottle.
That's called Wednesday for me.
Wednesday. Took it all down. Boomer rage. Too many threes. The
Every time.
Jalen.
Take a swig after every three.
Oh God, you could not do this show if you did that, Jimmy.
Seriously, dude.
So we'll get into it. There's a lot to talk about. Look, all in all, fun. Good game. A lot to talk about. OKC props like
Legit.
crazy.
Yeah.
They are all that. They absolutely are. Down players too. And I know that you're without Porzingis. Absolutely loved it. Yep. Jalen bad. Refs, sure, you want to talk about it, whatever. Hauser, Pritchard neutralized second straight game against OKC. Yeah, that's a story too. Tatum, amazing. Horford again, showing up. Kristaps Porzingis, the sickest man who's ever lived. All of these things are on the table, and we will roll through. We're going to hear from Joe Mazzulla in a second. Before we get to any of that, just tell you very quickly that the show is always brought to you by Prize Picks, largest daily fantasy sports platform in all of North America. Download that Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS. Get 50 instantly when you play 5. Code CLNS on Prize Picks. Get 50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. And as always, you want to support the Garden Report through Super Chats as we sit here and guide you through whatever it is that you're feeling right now. And I know you're feeling a lot of feelings. That would be great. Always appreciated, but never required. We're here to hang out with you guys because we like doing it, and that's what we do. So let's just roll through it. Celtics lose here. 118-112. Guys, your
first super chat is rolling in, John. I know you're going to want to post this one.
Oh, here we go.
Bring it.
Is it a Jalen-centric one?
Yes. It's short and to the point.
Yeah. He knows it. I hope we hear from Jalen tonight. Celtics have a habit of only trotting out guys who were the stars of the games, but Jaylen Brown was a really important part of today's game, and I hope he faces the music and goes and talks because he did have a tough game. I'm not going to sit here and freak out because I don't think he's going to always have a tough game in this type of matchup. He just happened to have one tonight, and it cost them because they needed him to show up, and he did not. Thank you very much, Eric Polanco, for the super chat, and thank you guys all for being here. Jimmy, start with you. Your number one takeaway from tonight, or just kind of, where's your head at?
Number one takeaway for me tonight was that the stars came out to play on both sides. I thought Tatum and SGA both did their thing tonight, but it was the reserves that didn't show up for Boston, and it was the reserves that really stood out to me for OKC, especially on a night where they didn't have one of their best players. I mean, the bigs on OKC, I thought were kind of the difference tonight. They were physical. They were in your face. Holmgren was doing it on both sides of the ball tonight. And I just didn't think the Celtics got enough from anybody else. I mean, somebody already mentioned Jaylen Brown, but you can keep going. Pritchard, what did he do tonight? Who else am I missing? Hauser didn't do anything tonight. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that just didn't have it. I mean, I got to give Horford credit for showing up tonight, and I got to give Tatum credit, and Derek White did some things as well, but Derek White fouled out too. So for me, it was everybody. It was everybody aside from SGA and Tatum that stood out on both sides of the ball tonight. Not enough help from Boston, and I think
I will say
OKC's
this. Guys, in what world do you think there's a conspiracy to keep OKC down and keep the Celtics down and OKC ahead? You think the NBA wants this market? Like, there's not a conspiracy. One team goes to the paint and the other does not. That being said, OKC got away with some handsy stuff. And the refs, I think, especially fouls 4 and 5 on Jaylen Brown, some weird ticky-tack stuff when they let Gorilla Ball, jailhouse ball go all night long. That was questionable for sure. Let's hear
the
from Joe
details
Mazzulla,
on the
who just jumped on
margins
the
and the
stage.
things that go into winning. Tonight, it was the free throw line. The turnovers were about the same. Rebounding was, relatively the same, and they came out on top in the free throw rate. So, just focused on all those things that impact winning over the course of a game.
Joe, what made the paint so difficult to access against them, and what were some of the ways their defense challenged you guys?
I thought we got great looks. I mean, our shot quality was
1.18
in real time.
No, you didn't,
a little
Joe.
bit lower,
Got
but
great
we got
looks?
amazing looks.
Everything
You didn't even
was
look for
difficult.
it.
The shell of their defense.
Everything was
protect the paint
difficult.
first. They
I
try to
hate
get
that
out.
tonight.
Thought our 2-on-1 reads were really good. So I thought we generated, relatively great looks throughout most of the game.
Are there differences in terms of how you guys have to approach things offensively, maybe compared to different opponents, or are you kind of looking at the same general approach you guys would on any other night?
Yeah, I mean, I think that changes with every opponent, depending upon what they're living with. Tonight, they were, mostly recovering back to Al, who, is great when he's in pick and pop situations, and played a ton of zone, which we were able to generate great looks on that and a lot of kick out reads. So, I think it just depends on what the defense is giving you, what the coverages are.
This was a new example of how great Jason Tatum has become as mastering the pick and roll. Do you think you could lean more into that sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, whether I thought we'll see what his pick and roll rate was tonight. But I thought he generated great looks for himself, and for others throughout the game, depending upon how he was being defended. But we'll take a look at his pick and roll rate.
Joe, the 35 free throw attempts for them, what do you attribute that to?
I mean, you have to match the level of physicality, so you have to do that. But we follow a 3-point shooter at the end of the quarter. We jump on a pump fake. Don't show our hands on a tendency drive. There's a level of physicality that you have to play with. You also have to do your best to defend without fouling. So just a small balance there, but definitely ones that we could take away.
And it seemed like they were really hurting you with their cutting baseline cuts a lot. Is that just something that you guys lost track of?
I mean, I think it's one of the things they really cut just to try to move you and distract you. So there was a couple that I didn't think we handled well, but I don't know how many points we gave up on back cuts. To me, it was more, the first 9 points of the game were like tendency points, and the free throws really got the best of us.
Joe, they were in the penalty for the last 7.5 minutes. What do they do to kind of get in so early, and what kind of stress does that put on the defense for the rest of the way?
Yeah, they have when they have multiple ball handlers and they got bigs that could generate free throws, you got to do your best to defend without fouling. So when you're in the penalty that early, it puts a lot of pressure. You're not as impactful as you want to be, and you got to be physical without fouling.
Despite shots not falling in the second half, it was 55-52 after halftime. What did you make of the team's ability to stay the course in spite of shots not going in?
Yeah, just gotta generate good looks. Again, we'll take a look at the margins and all the things that go into it. I thought we handled the majority well, but there was timely stuff. We don't get the 2 for 1 at the end of I think the first quarter. We fouled a 3-point shooter. We had some timely transition turnovers. They got some offensive rebounds at critical moments, and then they lived at the free throw line a little bit. So it just all those things get magnified when you have 2 really good teams playing against each other. They're a great team, and they took advantage of those things.
Joe, what can you take from a game? I mean, that's a team they want what you have. I mean, what can you take from this game in terms of using it to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, those things right there, right? Ending quarters, defending without fouling, tendencies, all those things that, really go into winning, matching the physicality, situational basketball, all those things that go into that.
Did their physicality not catch you off guard? Were you guys ready for it? It just seemed like, especially Hardenstein, the guys are getting frustrated. I mean, he's pulling, pushing. Yeah. He's doing what he has to do to get away.
No, yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's a really good player, and does a great job of mucking up the game. And I thought there were a lot of moments where we matched that, and then there was a few where we didn't. And I think that stuff like that's the difference in the game.
Joe, they did a good job, pressing up on the pick and rolls, like you mentioned. Jason got a lot of kickouts back to Al when they blitzed him a little bit, and they're great at rotating behind the ball as well. you mentioned you got good shot quality there, but when you're digesting a game like this and you see you made a lot of threes, but you also missed a lot of threes, how much of the balance is trusting that those will go in next time versus seeing how else you can beat that type of coverage and stuff like that?
I mean, I think it will just depend on how many we're catch and shoot off really good 2-on-1 reads that we got a paint touch before. Was it the right read? So I think you look at all those things there. I thought we generated a lot of catch and shoot opportunities, a lot of paint touch to kick out opportunities, and so you got to keep them off the free throw line and get stops so they can get out in transition. But for the most part, I think they were catch and shoot and 2-on-1 kick out opportunities.
Joe, you guys have struggled quite a bit in the last 10 games in the fourth quarter. What do you think needs to improve the most during that stretch?
So our pace is really high. Our defensive rebounding and our just some of our defensive tendencies for sure.
Thanks.
Yep. Thanks.
So that's Joe Mazzulla wrapping it up, speed talking his way through a media session. No nonsense from Joe. He answered every question earnestly, and I do think this is a bit of a humbling defeat for them, for the Celtics. You wanted to show out here. You did not. And let's lay the facts on the table here. Everyone talking about the officiating, that's fine. Like I said, I think the Celtics got a bad whistle, especially in the fourth quarter. Got OKC into the penalty. Jalen's fourth and fifth were really ticky-tack. And there was some stuff. I think OKC is very physical, and a different officiating crew might call more perimeter fouls before, people even get engaged on some of the stuff. Then OKC gets in a penalty early and they won't be as physical and they can't foul. So yeah, officiating could have affected how the flow of the game went. I think they're letting them play both ways. Guys, you have to take into consideration OKC does its work in the paint, and you shot 63 threes. You're not getting fouled. You're not getting to the free throw line when you shoot 63 threes. It just is what it is. You shot 32s, okay? I'm sorry. You can't get 35 free throws when that happens. It's just not how it works. So, yeah, the disparity is going to be there. You want to complain that it was a little bit lopsided? Fine. A conspiracy theory? I don't think so. So, that's the reality. The other is the Celtics, the good looks thing I got annoyed with Joe there.
Yes.
They got good threes. No question about it. The threes just didn't fall. They were whatever they were in the first. It was really the first quarter when they were falling. They were pretty bad the last three quarters, but I think they went 5 for 27 in the second half, including a couple garbage time ones. So they really did not knock down the threes, and that's where the game got away from them. They decided their path to victory was the 3-point line. OKC decided to attack the paint. Celtics had their most success in the third quarter when they did attack the paint, and they were more effective and they got more drive and kick threes. They weren't knocking them all down, but they scored more paint points. And that's when that was when they were at their best. I thought when they fought back, got it to 88. But you have to look at this. Like, the Celtics struggled offensively tonight, and OKC was without two of their better defenders. And Jalen Williams and Caruso, and Jalen Williams also one of their better shot creators. And you did that without it. So sure, you're without Porzingis, but they were short too. So you have to look at this and just flat out say OKC was flat out better. I'm not placing this on any injustice or anything weird that happened. OKC was better. I thought they were better almost all of the game. In this game, and I think that they absolutely, not just they were better, they might be better, and I think that that's sobering for some people to say here. After 2 games watching these two teams play, OKC makes life really, really hard on you. I thought the Celtics actually fought their asses off. I thought they really scraped and clawed. I thought Tatum played a masterful game, and they were just barely hanging on there. And so when I got annoyed with the Joe comment, they got good looks at threes. Their twos were so heavily contested.
And that was Bobby's question.
Yeah. All of them. So Bobby asked, getting to the paint was hard. That's what the thing. He got good looks. You got good looks from 3, but boy, were they every shot. And they made some of them. They were making some tough shots. It was really tough sailing there all night long. So compared to what the Celtics do typically defensively, hey, I'll concede certain shots. We won't put as much ball pressure, letting guys get their catches and their clean looks. OKC defends, to borrow, metaphor from another sport, every blade of grass there, right? Like, they are up in your shit always. Even every catch is tough. Everywhere you go is tough. Coming off of every screen, there's two people there. They are ferocious on defense, and they did it without two of their better perimeter defenders, and that's pretty scary.
That was the game. I mean, their interior defense, of all the different factors that came into play for this game, OKC's interior defense was the game. The Celtics did not get a 2-point basket until a goaltend in the second quarter. Their first made basket was a Luke Cornett putback with about 2.5 minutes or 2:50, like 10, I think it was 10 minutes even left in the second quarter. That's not getting good shots. It wasn't as if the Celtics weren't trying to get baskets in the paint. Jaylen Brown could not get it going. They couldn't get any dribble drive kick action going at all. They literally had no choice but to launch threes. They were fortunate to only lose by 6 points today because OKC played a much superior game at both ends of the floor. They had no answer for SGA. They got little to nothing from Jaylen Brown. They could get nothing from anyone else inside the paint. Tatum and Al Horford were the only things that kept this team from completely drowning in the first half. And for Joe to say that they got good looks, I don't agree with that. Not even all their threes were good looks, or most of their threes were good looks. They were outplayed because OKC's defense is so much better than I think most people realize. I've seen them play before, and they're good, but this was like winning an NBA championship type good.
I was stressed out watching them. I'm like, this is so hard. And I applaud the Celtics. 88-88 after 3 with how hard OKC was playing. And the Celtics
very lucky to be in the game at that point.
They found a few holes, but the Celtics fought their asses off. And so yeah, Jimmy, I'll get your thoughts here. Ripping through a couple super chats. A couple came in through Joe. Thanks, you, Lynn. No question being asked here. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We do appreciate that. We did our buddy John, who's always here, finals MVP and 6 man of the year no shows. Yeah, absolutely. Big stories here. This is Pritchard and Hauser, both OKC games, really, really bad numbers here. And we talk about series where these guys might not be able to make an impact. Yeah, Pritchard, sometimes those go in, but he had to catch and shoot quick because they were closing space on him, and it was more uncomfortable. And he was not able to dribble and get to his spots either because people were hounding him like crazy. JB was bad. You have to wonder if that knee is a little balky or he just had a bad game. He did. That's fine. And you're right. Those other guys did play well. So thank you very much there. And yeah, we are worried about KP to an extent. I assume he's coming back, but it's been such a long layoff. He's going to have to recondition again. So again, it's going to be weird where you've got X amount of games, 16 or so games left. You got to work KP back into it. Thank you again, Rollin. We do appreciate the super chat. And yeah, Lynn doubling up with a second one. Love the show. And thank you, Lynn, for bringing it again. Lynn. And we do appreciate that. We appreciate all of you. Jimmy?
You, Lynn.
Yeah.
So I think we got a good look at like the physicality that OKC displayed tonight between Hartenstein and that was part of the Knicks' identity last year with them being a physical team and a hard-working team. Like that was a lot of that was Hartenstein. When he left, there were a lot of Knicks fans that were bummed out about that when he wasn't back. And the Knicks are a completely different team this year. Obviously, you know, they made a number of moves, but Hartenstein gives them an even more of a physical presence and a defensive mindset. Celtics didn't see Holmgren the first time around, and man, did he show up tonight. I mean, he's probably your MVP of this game because, again, SGA did what SGA does. Like, I don't think anyone's surprised, you know, at SGA. But if you look at Holmgren, I mean, I'll tell you what, if he's putting up numbers like that and he's that successful against teams like the Celtics, OKC is going to be very difficult to stop. And we haven't even mentioned Lou Dort. That dude is a beast. I mean, that dude like epitomizes OKC in a way because he's just a bulldog and he's just massive. So this is the type of team that gives the Celtics trouble. They want to shoot threes. What do I say about the Celtics, Sherrod? They want to prance and dance. You know, that's what the Pacers want to do. I used to laugh at the Pacers because all the Pacers want to do is prance and dance. If you're the Celtics, you can't get away with that against this OKC team. And John, I agree with you. The Celtics were working for it and they were trying their best, but not enough down low. Not enough. It was too much. And yeah, I think they did get a lot of threes that just didn't drop. But it's these numbers, these 3-point attempts are getting comical. I mean, they had 22 in the first quarter alone. You're muted, but they had 20.
That's
22
all they
in the,
could get.
I refuse to believe that. This is an, if that's the case, then Joe needs to go back into the film room and figure out ways to get these guys to the basket more. And I understand that they're not physical, like, they don't have a Hartenstein, so they can't bulldoze their way to the hoop or whatever. And I know that, Luke and Horford are a little bit limited in what they can do athletically. And I know the Celtics are a 3-point team, so I understand that they're going to take a lot of threes. But it is almost so one-sided. I mean, if you're a football team, you can't just throw the ball. You can't just run the ball. You have to be at least a little bit more balanced. And I understand it's matchup-based too when you're going to try to attack where you can. And OKC makes it very, very difficult to do that inside. But you still have to figure out a way to do it. If at the very least, get to the line. Fans are clamoring for fouls. They're pissed off at the free throw discrepancy.
Go somewhere where people can foul you.
Get to the line. Put them in foul trouble. Be physical. Even if you don't get fouled, even if you miss the shot, I'd rather miss going hard to the basket than just bricking another, off-balance three-pointer. At least let OKC feel it on one side. But they were kind of dictating everything the Celtics were doing. I can't even say the Celtics wanted half the shots they got. Yeah, they took them, and some of them weren't that bad. But I feel like OKC forced them into those shots, put them in those positions, and kind of instilled their will on Boston. And that's the bully ball. And that's when we say the Celtics have trouble with teams like OKC, with teams like Detroit, teams like Houston, teams that want to play hard in your face, grinded out basketball.
Yeah, the physicality was undeniable in this game. As far as what OKC was able to do over and over and over again. And it wasn't at one position, it was every position. I mean, whenever, and the thing that OKC does or did in this game that really it speaks to why they're so good is their defensive versatility. No matter how much pick and roll action the Celtics ran, they never were able to get any type of matchup that they could go to consistently. It just wasn't there. And that's scary because this game is a reminder of why the path that the Celtics are going to have to take to win a championship, not only is it going to be different, not only is it going to be harder, but it's going to have to come with all hands on deck. You're not going to win a championship if Porzingis plays 3-4 games in the playoffs. You're not going to win another title if Jaylen Brown has 2, 3, 4 games like what we saw tonight. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
To me, I'm hoping that this is that much needed wake up call for this team to realize that as good as they've been, there's another gear they need to shift into if they want to win a championship.
My guy Sylvester Toe Jr., which means there's 2 Sylvester Toes, which is impressive.
There's a problem with Jaylen in this game, the physicality. Like, so when you do have some games where you're having a difficult time to get to the paint, Jaylen Brown puts his head down and he just out physicals people. Can't do that against this team.
Right.
And number one, someone put this in a comment earlier, but I had written it down as a note just to myself as a talking point. So, sorry, I can't give credit on the comment, but Celtics have been absolutely dining out. What's the common thread between a lot of the teams and the other good teams out there that they've played, whether it be Cleveland, the Knicks, other, in the Eastern Conference, the Lakers most recently, is there's 1 to 2 matchups you can hunt all game long. There is no one. Celtics cannot get into their game here. They cannot mismatch hunt here against a team like OKC. Can't do it. Right. Maybe you're trying to get Tatum onto SGA a little bit to create something there. Sure, that's fine, but it's not. There's no guys here that you're just going to eat up.
They're like the inverse of the Celtics in a way.
You can't hunt anymore. The Celtics are that way too. You can't hunt them.
But offensively, I meant though, yeah.
Right, but you can't do that. So the Celtics, that's taken away from them. Celtics have to be smarter and work harder, and maybe run some plays. They're getting into their sets, which is just a simple high pick and roll to switch. And no matter what, you've got, whoever switches onto Tatum can stick with them and give them a hard time and push them out away from the basket and get physical with them and get handsy. So they didn't have that all game. They couldn't get their catches close to the basket. Jaylen Brown's getting chewed out by Sam Cassell for not, establishing position and trying to get himself into the post and not, fighting for his spots out there. They weren't able to do that at all here. OKC is really tough, but Brown couldn't do what he normally does, which is like, I'm just going to go. I'm big and I'm strong. He did a couple times, but not enough because they can match that. It was really hard, really, really hard for them. So, yeah, tough all night. Thank you, Eric, again. Yeah, look, the KP pick and roll, which is no KP out there. KP's always a mismatch problem. There's no doubt about that. I mean, no matter what, whoever switches onto a 7'3" guy when he catches the ball near the free throw line has a problem. Of course, that's a cheat code play for the Celtics.
But again, though, OKC has Holmgren, they have Hartenstein. So again, they have guys that can guard 7 foot, bigs that can shoot. They do. They really do. How about this one? This is a game where one team always plays on the playground and has to win to keep the court, and the other team plays in a private gym in a gated community. And the refs had playground rules.
Oh,
the fact that everyone knows which team is which, that tells you all you need to know.
All you need to know. Yep.
Yeah.
Facts,
my dog. Yeah. So I think John, I think you used a good word, sobering. It's a reality check. I think for maybe for the Celtics too. They're a little bit on their high horse. They had a couple big wins recently, and OKC's got their number now, 2-0 against the Celtics this year. And if the two teams meet, we said this last show, if the two teams meet in the NBA Finals, OKC is going to be the favorite. And you can go back and look at these two games as to why. If both teams make, and I think a lot of people still think this could be an NBA.
Of course they can beat them. No one's saying not. But right now it's like, I still believe in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics are the team to beat, because we were having this debate the other day when Jaylen Brown said he thinks they're better than last year. They might be. And I still think their best game beats Cleveland's best game. I think the Celtics are barely trying this year. When they have gotten up for games, they've done reasonably well, but they've had some tough injury luck this year, and they haven't really been given it their all season long. So I still think they're the team to get out of the East, but you run into these guys, Jimmy, you've definitely got some concerns. There's no question about it. Like,
you best be prepared.
This is a hard team to play against, and nothing is going to be easy. We're going to hear from so many people from the Garden coming up, including, and you all know what's coming. You're going to get Bobby. You're going to get Noah. You're also going to get Josue Pavon.
Yeah.
OKC beat writer Josue Paboo.
Go back to Oklahoma City.
Shut up, Josue. He's gonna come in and he's gonna. I wonder whose side he's on. He's got to pretend for the. He knows he's on a guard. Knows he's on a Celtics show. But if any of his peeps in OKC are watching, he's got to be careful. He's got to be on his best behavior.
He's gone over the dark side side.
Before we get to any of that, we want to tell you real quick about Prize Picks. We gave you a little, gave him a little shout out at the top of the show. But again, you know what these guys are all about. The best place to get real money sports action. And as we said, America's largest daily fantasy sports platform. Over 10 million members. Billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. More or less, that's all you got to do. Pick more or less, at least two players, shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Of course, you got NBA action. It's heating up as we're kind of heading into that stretch drive here before the playoffs. NHL action, same exact thing. Baseball's about to get started up. So a lot of stuff that you can get in on. And everyone's got their eyes on the NFL season down the road as free agency heats up. But, focus on other sports for now. But all you got to do is download that app, use the code CLNS. You get 50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app, code CLNS, $50 instantly into your account after you play that first $5 lineup. That's all you have to do. A lot of fun other features and options on here that you can take advantage of that are running throughout the week. Free squares, Taco Tuesday, Freaky Friday. So again, check it out. Prize Picks. All you have to do,
run your game. That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do. Run your game.
That's all you have to do.
So getting back to it here, and as I said, we're waiting on.
And John,
yeah,
all you have to do is fix your damn microphone. Apparently, Robin is not happy with the audio levels coming out. Apparently,
I can jack it up a little.
Take this $4.99. Take this $4.99 and get a new mic. How about that? Thank you, Robin.
I got the best mic, but I'll absolutely give it a little boost because I'm here for you. Audio.
Not a lot of people want to usually
raise
ask
it.
you to
Nobody
be
wants
louder.
more, John. I raised
Now
it. I
it's
raised
too
it.
loud.
Too loud.
All right. Yeah. Easy. Robin, you know what, Robin? I appreciate the super chat, but next time, don't ask John to be louder.
Yeah, you should not. No, the last time what happened is my mic it jumped out of basically.
Oh,
out
you
of
know,
this
you got comma. Comma
to
came your
something
way.
else. But while trying to fix it, I lowered it and I left my setting low. So I do apologize that you guys can't hear me yelling. I don't believe they were soft tonight. I hate that take. I don't think the Celtics played soft tonight. I think OKC is physical. I thought the Celtics played really hard tonight. I really do. It's like you're not soft if the other team just happens to be more physical. It's not like the Celtics turtled. They freaking threw their bodies everywhere tonight. I thought they were very aggressive. So I don't like that soft take at all. I really don't. I totally disagree. I just think OKC is a more physical team and they're athletic. It is what it is. But the Celtics didn't back down from it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a crazy take.
I don't think they were soft. I mean, they fought back a number of times in this game. Again, I thought Tatum had a gutsy performance tonight. I just think that shots didn't fall for the guys that they needed them to. Like arguably your two best shooters, Hauser and Pritchard, didn't have it tonight. Missed a lot of opportunities. We probably haven't talked enough about Brown, but he was off from the start, and I don't know if it's the injury, the leg injury. He looked a little slow out there on the defensive side of things. I don't know. I mean, again, going up against SGA, it probably can make anybody look slow. But there were a couple moments in that one where I just didn't feel like Jaylen Brown looked like himself out there, or looked like the Jaylen Brown that we've seen as of late.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was just bad, but I'm trying to figure out why, I guess. Because, typically, he can have some stinkers offensively, but I just thought even defensively tonight. And you know what? Also, decision-making, ball handling, dribbling into traffic, turning the ball over. Like, it was just an all-around bad game for Jaylen Brown. I don't really know why that could have been. And that's why I'm wondering if there's any sort of pain involved, but it could just be a bad game. But soft, no, I would say they weren't soft. But it can look that way because the way OKC plays. And when you're a three-point shooting team and the shots aren't going down, it looks kind of like, oh, these guys are soft. They're just jacking threes, and the other team's going down the other end there. And I can't really blame people for seeing something off, but I think probably soft is maybe not exactly.
The approach doesn't bother me as much, except that they got away from attacking the paint a little bit. But I thought
60 something threes, though. I mean,
it was insane. They really were having a tough time solving it. I do think in the beginning, I don't think that was their goal. I think they were trying to get into the paint. They just couldn't. So all they were getting were threes. Like, I don't think it was lack of effort. I think OKC clamped it down. They really were struggling. They were moving the ball quickly, trying to get it around. And every time they were trying to drive, there was two guys there. So it just wasn't working for them as they'd hoped in that. So it seems bad, but I don't know. I don't know what you could have done to get better looks there. I don't know.
So then what? If the Celtics just shoot a few percentage points higher, they win the game?
I mean, look, that's honestly, this is how they beat the only reason they're in the game is because the 3-point volume, and it wasn't the making, it was the taking. They were just out shooting OKC from three. OKC's outplaying them the whole game. Celtics 3-point volume was saving them in this game. They just went ice cold.
Yeah.
So you're not complaining about it if they knock down 3 or 4 more of those for sure. It's just, it looks like a ridiculous number, but I didn't think it was awful. I thought they took what the game gave them at this point. I think when they did try to get into the paint, a lot of their shots, that's what I was saying with Joe, felt like really contested. I mean, those Tatum midi pull-up twos with people in his face, he made a few of them. Those are hard friggin' shots. So I don't know. It was okay. They were good, man. OKC was just good. I don't know what, it was tough. It was tough.
And the scary thing is, and you mentioned it, but they were without arguably their two best defenders tonight.
Yeah,
Williams and Caruso. And I totally forgot about Caruso, but he's a pest. He's all over the damn place, man. He's their vet. He's like the only guy on their team that's like I don't even know how old he is, but he's the only guy that's like arguably older in NBA terms. So they're young. They're a young team. They got all the energy in the world. And I know that the knock on them is, and I've even said it early as like last show, I was like, until they do it, I don't really know if they can. Well, yikes. There's a first time for everything, as they say. And this OKC team is definitely built to win a championship. They have the pieces. Now, so do the Celtics. I'm not crowning OKC. But certainly they've showed me enough, light years more. I'd be light years more scared of them than I was the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think anybody on our show or in Boston really thought the Mavericks were much of a competition for Boston. I know the national media wanted to trick everybody into thinking so. But if these two teams meet in the NBA Finals, there's going to be national media who picks OKC because they actually believe OKC is good enough to win. And there might be even some media in Boston that feel that way. So we'll see. Got to get past Cleveland. Talk about no love. Cleveland's on their second 15-game winning streak of the year. Their second. First time in the history of the NBA that's ever happened. And we're talking about OKC like it's a foregone conclusion that Celtics are just going to, sleepwalk their way to the NBA Finals again. I know that we're not going to talk about Cleveland tonight, but it is interesting to me that, they're doing their thing, that they're 8-9 games ahead of the Celtics in the standings now. And they can be physical too. They've got some size on that team, and that's going to be an interesting one too. I think the Celtics, again, when Jaylen Brown says they could be better than last year, I believe him. I would agree, but I think it's just been the consistency with this team. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to is in the playoffs, can they be consistently better than they were last year? Because they're going to need to be, because there's teams around them that are better. Definitely. Whether it's going to be Cleveland or whether it's going to be OKC, if you get that far, teams around them are better. You're muted.
A lot of people believe this comment. I'm still not sure what I think about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit that.
What?
I hit something.
Don't do it.
I didn't mean to.
Well, then stop.
I was scrolling through the
Unhit
comments.
it. Yeah.
No, I lost the comment.
So, I mean, we haven't gone hard into it, but I mean, it was a dreadful Jaylen Brown game. Sherrod, what do you think the issue is? And again, you have to take into consideration the possibility that there's something injury-ish, but I don't know. I don't think significant enough to affect it. I think it's just, a bad game, but just it's not just the bad shooting, it's just the bad decision making. He had a couple momentum killing turnovers as well, and that last foul was one of the dumbest things I've seen. You just got back into the game, you just made a nice drive and a great dunk and a bucket, and it's like, okay, maybe JB can salvage this entire night with a nice little fourth quarter push here. And what do? Just recklessly slam into somebody, under the basket the other way. It was such an obvious foul. He hits him in the head. Just dumb shit.
Yeah. This was very on Jaylen. Like, even when Jaylen has had games where he struggled, nothing quite like this. I thought the biggest thing that jumped out to me about his play was just a lack of explosiveness. He was never able to really get into any kind of flow or rhythm other than that dunk at the very end. That was the most explosive thing he did at either end of the floor. My gut tells me that there's some health things going on with Jaylen, that knee is bothering him a little bit, or at least giving him some discomfort. I still think he would have struggled in this game. I don't think he would have struggled to the magnitude that we saw. Bottom line is they have to play better against these top teams in the NBA if they're going to repeat as champions. They're not going to have the luxury of kind of, having almost damn near an easy pass to the finals like they did last year. They're going to have to go through some traffic. There's much more rugged terrain ahead of them if they're going to get back. No question about it. And the turnovers were a killer.
Yeah.
Big time killer. But OKC's defense was a bigger problem, though. Their inability to just get anything, either looking for shots in the paint or using the paint to set up the open, drive and kick game. They weren't able to utilize, a significant part of the floor that they're used to. I mean, did Jalen take more than 2, maybe 3 shots in the paint? If that, as John pointed out, he was never able to get the bully ball game going, and he was never able to have any type of counter to not having the bully ball game.
Jimmy,
what?
Jim, the mic, man.
I didn't touch the mic.
You're touching the table.
Maybe the table. I was looking at Jaylen Brown's. I was trying to look at Jaylen Brown's numbers.
It's just really like you're flipping stuff.
Jimmy,
it's so loud.
Jimmy,
it's not that loud.
It's
it really
is unbelievable.
It is. We've been humoring you, Jimmy.
It's so loud. It's so constant.
It's not. It's
really
not. Anyways, I was looking at Jaylen Brown's stat line from the first time these two teams played this year. 8 of 19 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. So obviously better than tonight, but
not a lot better. Better,
not
but
a lot
not
better.
A lot better.
A little bit more.
Louise, I'm sorry. We were pretty good. Louise, I'm going to tell you, I did not start this show going all in on Jalen. I gave him a bit of a pass, saying I don't think. Yeah, he was terrible tonight. I don't know if these two teams play again, if he's going to be terrible again. He just happened to have a bad night tonight, and that cost them. But he has not gotten a lot of our, if anything, more of the benefit of the doubt, because people were saying he came down funny last game.
Yeah.
On one of the dunks, so maybe something was off. He was on the thing, and that's right. Thank you, Mrs. Toscano. Do not make noise. Sit up, young man. Sit up straight.
Seriously.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get too. I mean, Jaylen Brown has been playing so well for this team. The last couple of weeks. This is one of those games. I don't really know what else to chalk it up to other than the fact that, I mean, it did come against an extremely tough team defensively. So there is something to be said there. You got to give OKC some credit for the way that they defended tonight, but I just thought Jaylen Brown was off from the start. And I thought he knew he was off, and that probably played into some of those turnovers. When, we kind of saw a little bit of old Jaylen Brown tonight where he would dribble into traffic and then kind of get stuck in the paint, kind of look around, try to find his way out of it. I thought that happened a few times tonight. So, certainly not one of those games where he's going to want to add to any of the highlight reels that he's got going on. But he had that one dunk, and you're right, John. He had that one dunk at the end. Thought maybe the Celtics could kind of use it as some momentum, and then just a reckless sixth foul. I think that's the word to use. Reckless, just complete unawareness of where, his arms were going in that moment. I mean, it's clear contact. When you have 5 fouls, I mean, you want to be so far away from that situation where it's just head was not in the game tonight. Head was not in the game.
Yeah. It was not. And so here we are on this game. And again, I know people here are kind of in their feelings a little bit. I thought Jalen was in his feelings a little bit throughout this game. But again, offering perspective, the Celtics went ice cold from 3 in the second half, and a lot of them were very good looks. So again, you can factor that in a little bit. I know they're without KP, so you've got some problems there, stopping OKC from getting to the paint. But again, OKC is down players. It's still going to be tough to see what would happen if these two teams played fully loaded in the finals. But also, again, you can take solace in this. If OKC scares you, chances are they're not making the finals, not because they're not the best team, but again, the odds are always against you. It's really hard to do it. So who knows what's going to happen if they even get out of there. And if they do, the good news is you're in the finals again. And that's a good thing. So again, champagne problems. If you're worried about your finals matchup, you made it. That's pretty good news. But again, I'm walking away from this one again, super impressed with OKC on the whole, more so than I am blaming any particular thing that the Celtics did or didn't do, or players that they missed or didn't miss here. So definitely hats off to them. Once again, to recap here, we have Bobby Manning, Josue Pavon, and Noah going to, oh, sorry, I was getting a note from the garden. Going to be jumping on in a little bit once we get more people going. We've got more people coming to the podium in a little bit as well, so we'll hear some more sound. And, we'll get the OKC take, obviously, with our man Josue Pavon here, the trader, embedded trader, back in Boston, hanging out a little bit here. Let's get into a little bit of the bench sort of stuff here. And we've been talking about it some, and Pritchard had 8, but he hit a late 3, which was garbage. He did nothing all game long, an absolute no-show here. We mentioned Hauser as well. Now going back to 2 games, and I went back to the first one. The first game, Jimmy, 0 points, 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. And in this game, 8 points. You see the numbers on the bench. That's what he's got in 2 games against OKC. Not super pretty numbers there for Pritchard in this game. And it's a small sample size still, 2 games, but we've been asking ourselves a question like, are there certain teams and certain matchups you're not going to get success from your bench from? Again, OKC is only a team that you'd face in the finals, but this looks really difficult for Pritchard out there. His minutes, I was scared of his minutes when he was out there. And you know what? He was competitive. He hung in there. The one time he tried to stick SGA. He did okay. But it's a tough matchup out there. There's big boys out there. They're athletic. They're physical. It was hard for him to get to his spots, to get his shot off clean. And then defensively, it's going to be a challenge against this type of team. It was really tough. And then Hauser as well. But a lot of pressure there. It was really difficult.
I thought Pritchard's game was kind of a microcosm of the Celtics as a whole, that the effort was there. They were trying, they were working, but they just could not get to a point where they felt comfortable pulling this thing out. I'm still, surprised that they were able to stay as close as they were for this game, because Oklahoma City pretty much got what they wanted, most possessions offensively, whether it was SGA getting a shot at the rim, mid-range game, corner 3, wing 3, dish to teammates. This was what you would expect the league MVP to do, to absolutely show you why they're so highly regarded. And, Pritchard, again, the effort was there. I mean, he was fighting, he was feisty. He just couldn't do anything that looks even the remotest bit like what we're used to seeing him do. He didn't make shots. There was no end of the quarter daggers. Was that Jimmy?
Sorry, I think I'm on a delay. No, what I was going to say, and that's kind of the problem with you're going to always have with Pritchard is the size limitations, I guess. There.
Not always.
I mean, well, when there is a problem, that's what's going to be, because he's never going to lack on the intensity or the effort. He's still somebody that you have to, have a body up on offensively. If he's going to, he's still one of the best 3-point shooters on the court at all times, but it does make things a lot more difficult for him when he's playing against a physical team with big dudes out there, physical guys. Like I mentioned earlier, Dort. I mean, this guy is a tank. And so it makes things, if you can, it works both ways. I mean, if you can push anybody out of their, comfort zone or out of their spot that they like to be in, if you can just be physical, a little nudge, touch here, touch there, like that's going to sometimes go really, really far in a game. And I think the Celtics, I mean, it's a lesson learned for them. Maybe you have to fight fire with fire a little bit, but with Pritchard, I give him all the credit in the world for how much he works and what he's done to get to this point and earn the minutes that he's gotten. But there are going to be matchups against certain teams where size is going to, show a little bit more than it has in other games, especially if OKC is making it difficult for them to, drive, get to the paint and open things up offensively that way. So you saw that tonight. And that sucks, because you can talk about the Celtics being, quote unquote deep, but really they're deep because they're so talented, like 1 through 8, right? And Pritchard's a huge reason for that. He's your sixth man.
Well, it's an interesting thing, right? Sometimes you say, they're so deep because of the 1 through 6, is the best 1 through 6, the 6 starter sort of thing. And then some people feel that they are deep because Pritchard is 6th man of the year and, takes you in there. But then there's other times where you're like, the whole bench is useless. We can't use any of them.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's one night on, one night off. Sometimes you look at the bench and you're like, oh man, these guys
but the
are
bench is top heavy.
It's always, are they going to struggle in the playoffs or not? And again, it's can Hauser play this series? Can Pritchard play this series? I hate having that as your bench. Is this a Luke series, or are you going to be scared as hell every minute that he plays? That's kind of the problem when you've got guys who are athletically limited against teams that are going to really give them the business there. And your entire bench is that. Like Horford is, again, physically limited. Pritchard, Hauser, and Luke all the same. You don't have it. I mean, who comes in next? I don't really know. So you're right. I mean, that is a bit of a problem there with those guys. In that thing. One person we haven't talked a ton about is SGA in the battle of MVP candidates, prohibitive MVP favorite, at least betting favorite. SGA here in a very SGA-ish night, 34 points, 11 of 20 field goals. He really can get to whatever spot that he wants to. He's not a super threat from 3. He's a bigger grifter than I think a lot of people realized in this game. But what's funny is he's not selling it as much as he's getting it. Like, he'll buy a call or two. He's pretty crafty and clever when there's an arm extended and jumping in there and creating the contact on those cheap kind of Harden-esque ways, though not as egregious as Harden would do it. But a lot of it is he's getting a pretty kind whistle. When he goes to the hole, he gets a lot of whistles. I'm actually a little surprised. So the people out there in there who are a little upset that SGA gets to the line and Jason Tatum does not, I think it's justified to some extent. I don't think Tatum gets the same level of calls. SGA was getting a lot of deferential calls from the refs today.
I think Tatum did it to himself.
He does a lot of it to himself by the constant complaining. There's no question about that. We've been talking about that for years now. He doesn't help himself in that regard. And I think that's one of the reasons he doesn't get the calls, not because the league hates Boston and has an anti-Boston bias, which is the dumbest shit. People who believe that is just insane. If you think they don't want a market like Boston with this fan base it deep into the playoffs is silly. But we're we'll hear from SGA a little bit here. He's everything that's advertised. He does what he does. He's exactly the player. And it's almost like this quiet assassin. He just, every night you look up 30 points, 30 points, 30 points. He's only not had 20 points like once this year. It's just insanely consistent. And that's one of the hallmarks of his game here. Here's SGA for a little bit on the podium after tonight's game.
This game seemed kind of similar to the San Antonio game where they hit a bunch of threes first half and you guys just kind of stayed committed to your game plan.
Oh, what a
What
yawn.
kind of mental toughness does it take for you all on the road to
It's a horrible
just kind of
visor.
dig in and do what
Pretty
you plan
bad.
to do?
Yeah, to win on the road regardless, like you have to
It's probably like a
you have to punch
$500
first, obviously,
visor.
because the crowd and the atmosphere and they're in their comfort zone. And then you have to be very disciplined, and those are the things we focused on. Just punching first.
Going to JB
Jalen,
instead.
obviously, you didn't have the performance that you probably would have liked.
He talked.
What went into that? What caused the difficulty shooting tonight?
I give credit to OKC. Tougher team sets the rules. They had a good level of physicality tonight, and I could be more physical. I could use my body more. I settled in some spots. But I didn't meet the level of physicality tonight. Like, I had no free throw attempts, and that's like unusual. Just making sure you get your body healthy, etc. But I didn't meet the level of physicality tonight.
In terms of getting your body healthy, you've mentioned a couple of times recently that you haven't been feeling your best. I know these are big games, and I know you want to play, but has there been any thought to maybe taking some time off to maybe get your body right, as you said, for the bigger goal in the playoffs?
Yeah, but I don't skip steps, so Finishing out the regular season strong is a part of my agenda. And tonight I felt better than I did over the last 2 weeks, to be honest. I felt my knee I felt better than I have in a while. So I think I'm trending in the right direction. Just tonight, I had some open looks that didn't go in. They were physical. I didn't meet the level of physicality like I can. I had no free throw attempts. I could be more physical, make them call it or whatever. And then on defense, I couldn't get anything going.
Preach.
Side of the ball tonight. So it was just one of them games, watch the film, look at, give credit to OKC though. They've been playing good basketball. They were physical tonight. They've been physical all season long. And
agree, Louise. I said that earlier.
Jalen, when they're the more physical team from jump, how do you guys combat that? What can you guys do?
Just got to meet that level, be more physical. And that's something that I take pride in, being able to win those matchups physicality wise. I didn't win those matchups tonight. I got some good looks, got to the paint, took some early jump shots that some plays I wish I could have back. I could put guys in the rim. I could be more physical. I can get to the free throw line. I could, draw the paint even more for some of those kickouts. And I just didn't meet that level tonight.
What's the challenge of guarding SGA? Obviously he gets his free throws. He's going to get his calls. What's that like?
It's tough. That boy good. You know what I mean? That boy is good.
That boy good.
That boy good.
Game,
shifty, good and terrible.
Crafty around the basket. Knows how to use his body well. Draws fouls and has been hitting the 3-ball well too. Tough. Definitely a guy that you watch and you study to be better if we end up playing him down the line. But no, he's a tough cover. He's been playing some good basketball. And you got to tip your cap.
Jalen, hard to match the level of physicality when you're dealing with foul trouble. Both you and Derek fouled out. I don't remember the last time that has happened.
Never.
So how challenging was that and why?
Yeah, it just was one of those games. I'm not even going to blame officiating or nothing like that. Just one of those games where couldn't get anything going offensively or defensively. It was maybe some tough calls that could have went the other way or not. But, definitely OKC was a tougher team for a large stretch. Hartenstein came in, was aggressive. Holmgreen, Wallace, all of those guys used their physicality. And I got to be better at meeting that level. So
Holmgreen, Away Green.
We just got to look forward to every single game.
All those greens are hard. Those greens are hard, man.
In that level, so health is key, and we'll be ready.
Jalen, their defense is so connected that every time you guys try to swing the ball, they would somehow catch up. What's so difficult about trying to get away from them and get the kind of rotations out of them that you get against most teams?
Yeah, they recover fast. Even their guys that you would think that you can attack, put up a good fight and use physicality. So you got to give credit to OKC. They're well coached. They're connected on defense. So you got to play. You got to play basketball. You got to make plays. And that's where, just you comes in and just, winning those matchups. Nothing you could draw up. I thought we got some good looks. Thought we got some, we had a good game plan. Just got to win those matchups. We didn't win them tonight. I didn't win mine tonight. So that cost us the game.
Jalen, Shea obviously got the 11 free throw attempts, but a lot of the other guys got more attempts than they might usually get. How much of you talked a lot about physicality. How much of that physicality for you guys defensively is a matter of matching it versus maybe understanding that they're looking for that and sort of countering it and like playing that chess match?
It's tough, because obviously they were physical on defense and they were allowed to be physical. So, you would think that they would allow us to be a little bit more physical too. But we got to be smart and physical at the same time. We know that they like to draw fouls with, reach-ins and foul base. So you just got to be a little smarter and things like that. But also on offense, got to be even more aggressive and more physical. I think on offense, we shot a lot of threes, but, at the same time, getting to the basket, being physical on our drives even more, that could be something that I could have done better. So I think that's, a game to definitely look at. Obviously we played and we only play them twice a year and we drop both games, but, definitely some information we can learn from. So we take that information in stride and move forward.
I was going to ask about the threes, 63. Is that something you feel like you guys needed to do to attack their defense, or do you feel like that was kind of them pushing you out to the perimeter a little bit?
Say that again.
Do you feel like you guys had to take 63 threes to be able to attack them offensively, or do you feel like you guys were kind of kept outside the paint a little bit?
No, I thought, it didn't feel like we took that many threes. Maybe it looked like it on TV or watching the game, but I feel like we had a lot of good looks and things like that. They were trapping the paint a lot, and we got some kick out threes, got some paint touches. I was still able to get to the paint, and we got some swing. Maybe some threes we took, we didn't have to. Maybe it was a little ill-advised. But it felt like we got some good looks. They didn't go down, and theirs did. But overall, just being more physical. 0 free throw attempts. I didn't get a free throw attempt a night. That means I wasn't aggressive enough, or I wasn't physical enough in my drives, etc. Even when they're not calling it, even when they choose not to call fouls or whatever the case may be, I'm still able to get at least 1 free throw attempt. I had 0 tonight, so that just lets me know that I wasn't aggressive enough, etc.
Etc.
So that's Jaylen Brown right there. I loved everything about that press conference from Jaylen. I like the accountability. I like that he spoke coming off of a bad game. I mentioned it at the top of the show. I was wondering if that would be the case. And he did, which is great. And he owned it. He didn't play well. He wasn't physical enough, even though that's kind of his forte.
Didn't take a free throw.
Didn't get to the line. He felt like he should have. Didn't complain about the refs. I thought it was pretty honest take. Maybe some calls could have gone the other way, but it wasn't egregious. I think that's the fair take. I really, like I said, I go back to fouls 4 and 5. I don't think you need to call those, especially the way you'd been letting people play all night. But it was a physical game, and they let both teams be physical, and there was physicality on both sides. It's just ultimately, again, the team that attacks the paint and outshoots you from 2 to 1 is going to get more free throw attempts. It's just how it goes. It's not, it seems like it's a huge disparity, but they played more physical. They played tougher. And yeah, you're right. SGA is a bit of a foul merchant. And I think he's getting a favorable whistle there as well. So if it was tilted slightly, but I didn't think that was the story of the game. OKC was more aggressive. They attacked more. They got to the line more, and Brown was really accountable there about it. He didn't make excuses about his knee. In fact, he said it was the best he had played, the best he had felt. So you can toss that one out the window, or maybe it was, but he didn't make an excuse about it. I don't know what was going on with that jacket. I saw Nick Gelso wearing something like that the other day, and he looked like the Thing, He looks like Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm, because it was tan too, so he really did look like the Thing. So I don't know if that's something the kids and Nick are wearing nowadays. This extra
jacket,
inflated, almost Halloween costume, Mr. Incredible superhero suit sort of thing.
I was waiting for somebody to pull the string, and Jaylen Brown would have just kind of shot up and floated away. He sounded deflated, but he looked very inflated.
But other than that, it was good. I wouldn't know. Of course I wouldn't know. For all I know, it's the coolest thing in the world. I'm not pretending I know. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably just as expensive as SGA's visor that we also think looks horrible. So I don't know if we're just the wrong people to be judging the fashion
I'm
here.
definitely the wrong person. I just learned what a Borg is.
Yeah, you're wearing an orange hat. You're wearing a equally.
It's a red hat, dude. It's pretty freaking cool. I'm wearing
It looks orange.
I'm wearing a soccer hat. That's what kids do. They watch soccer.
Football.
Yeah.
Football. Okay.
Football.
My bad. My
Yeah.
bad. I'm wearing a gray. This is St. John's Bay. Shout out St. John's Bay.
Okay,
so.
fine, Kess. I'm fine. I'm just having some fun. I'm tired of talking about basketball. I want to talk about anything else.
Yeah,
right
we
now.
don't want to talk about physicality anymore. Let's just play the SGA clip and see what. Oh, Tatum's up. This should be good.
Oh boy.
Nap time.
So you got to be intentional about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to create on offense, and it's just read the defense, read the matchups, make the right play.
Jason, defensively, I mean, you guys, even though you had some tough shooting, you guys put up enough points. Defensively, what was it that they were doing that made it tough to stop?
I think just playing against another contending team, You got to really focus on the margins. Some live ball turnovers, giving a team like that second and third chance opportunities on rebound.
Is there a snoring effect?
Whether it was the foul at the
You
end
hear
of
it
the
too.
quarter. Just little things like that against a really good team can be the difference.
I thought it
And,
was you,
just
John.
Cleaning up things like that. They got 35 free throws, and maybe we fouled them, maybe we didn't. Their team, they shoot a lot of free throws anyway. So,
somebody is
find
snoring.
areas where maybe we could limit some, slap down fouls there.
There it is again.
It's not me.
Fouling a jump shooter, things like that we could try to eliminate to bring that number down a little bit.
What was the issue in that stretch? I think from like 8 to 4.5 in the fourth when you guys gave up that 8-0 run, had I think a few different open looks seemingly not go down. Was it just as simple as some clean looks not going in, or did they do anything else to jam you guys up there?
Honestly, I think on the offensive end, we generated some really good looks. I bet a few guys, wish they could have some shots back that they would normally make. And sometimes it's as simple as that, to make a mislead. But we have all the confidence in the world in those guys taking the right shots, and we swing it to the corner, we drive, we draw two, pass up a good shot for a great shot. You gotta live with the result. We missed 43 threes tonight, so that won't always be the case.
And what do you take away from these two games this year against the Thunder, a team you guys could obviously potentially see in a few months?
Really good team. Both ends of the floor, well coached. They play the right way. They know what they want to do on both ends. It's a lot of fun. It was a high-level game against two really good teams with a bunch of good players out there.
You guys went 5 for 27 from 3 in the second half, but despite that and dealing with their physicality, it was only a 3-point game after halftime. So what did you think of the team's ability to just stay the course and continue to stick with the game plan as shots aren't falling and you're dealing with losses on the margins and Oklahoma's physicality?
We're a really good team. We normally find a way to figure out how to win. Even if we're not shooting the ball well.
Thanks, James.
This is where John. I'm looking for this from John. Let's wrap.
Get closer.
Yeah.
Win the ball game by doing all the little things, and
Okay, good.
Thank you.
That was tough.
It was.
Really tough.
It was even tough with someone who was clearly knocked out even before the game started.
I will say that I do agree. It gets lost in the loss and looking for the blame and being annoyed about the refs. That it was a good game. It was really entertaining. Even if you thought from a style perspective, Celtics were shooting too many threes or this or that, they went back and forth. Like I said, the Celtics I thought were cooked when the shots stopped falling in the third quarter and they went down 8-10 there. I was like, uh-oh, I don't like this at all. And OKC was swarming them, and they really battled. And they fought for rebounds. They did a good job. They fought on the boards. They were able to. They got it. They got out and ran when they could. They did a lot, to keep it in there. And Tatum was playing really, really, really well, and they were still grinding the whole time. So again, it was a really good game. They just the other team did more, down the stretch. So, asking about adjustments, let's ask Bobby Manning right out of the gate. Bobby, we're putting up a super chat here from Nelson Camilleri. If we do meet OKC in the finals, what adjustments do you think Joe should make? What could they have done differently tonight, Bobby? Or what should they do differently in terms of approach against a team like this?
I think you just have to find ways to get deeper paint touches. And the way the Celtics went about it in this one, it just wasn't the right way. Driving head on into traffic, taking difficult mid-range shots, which I feel like Jalen fell into, especially early during that 1 for 7 start for him. And just talking to someone with the team after this game, they came away from it and said the big thing is cutting. There wasn't enough cutting in this game. And the Thunder defending them by bringing guys over, playing in the gaps, just hedging a little bit into the lane so there's multiple guys in front of drivers. And the other guys who don't have the ball, when their defender does that, can just cut right by them, catch a pass at the basket and get to the free throw line, at least get a paint touch that draws guys in and kick out. There were too many, and I get why they shot a lot of threes in this game, John, but there were too many possessions where they just prayed that a three was going to bail them out because they couldn't get to the paint, because there were too many bodies in the way, or because they got stuck in the mid-range area and just tossed it out like a grenade. And, 63, that's too much. It just is. And I know it gives you the best opportunity when you don't have the post looks and when you don't have the looks around the basket consistently, but I think it's just emblematic of them not having enough dribble penetration in this game, or at least just body penetration. They're not a cutting team, and that's going to be really difficult for them against the Thunder. Now, I thought they exploited some Thunder weaknesses in this game, John, but their inability to get to the paint, and when they did get there, they converted, which is a positive, but they couldn't get there enough, and that's a concern going into future potential matchups against this team.
Jaylen Brown said it in his press conference. Basically, the physical team dictated the way things went tonight. Is that what you saw out, being at the game tonight, Bobby? Did it feel like OKC was kind of getting whatever they wanted, using their physicality and kind of preventing the Celtics from doing anything other than shooting threes as much as they did?
I mean, that's a part of the game tonight, I feel like, but to me, it was the scheme the Thunder played more than anything else. They were able to throw multiple bodies in front. I guess Lou Dort's, grabbing and, hand checking a little bit or whatever he might have been doing out there. And Al Horford mentioned him after the game as a guy who was difficult to face defensively in this game. But they were hedging off certain Celtics players. They were trying to dig into the lane against Brown, against Tatum, and just have multiple bodies in front of them. And more often than not, that caused turnovers. That caused those guys to hit a wall before they could get deep into the paint. So I thought this was just a better coach game by the Thunder. Could you have some gripes about the way free throws are called in this one? Sure. But for Jaylen, who fouled out, as you guys just heard there, to say, that one's on me. That's not on the refs. I didn't do enough to get to the line. I think that's real. I think the Thunder played a better defensive scheme than the Celtics did offensive in this game. And, for forecasting ahead to a finals matchup, John, which was really what I hit on hard going into this game, don't look like you're overmatched. Don't look like this team has your number. I don't think that's what this game was. But the one thing you come away from this game saying is that if you can't do all the other things offensively and you're just praying that the threes fall and that's the only way you can beat this team, that's not a good formula for winning a series to me. I think the Thunder have a more sustainable model over a 7-game series from what we've seen so far than the Celtics just hitting droves of threes to get by.
Bobby, let me ask you this. I mentioned this earlier in the game. You and I have talked about it. I know that you kind of feel this way too. At times during the season, we've been critical of the Celtics' approach on defense, which is kind of conceding certain things and defending others. We don't want to give up a ton of threes. We don't want, but we're willing to give away that. The way that they defend has always been a little bit passive for our liking. And then you see OKC that does completely the opposite, which is makes every catch difficult. Every single thing. You can't get a pass cleanly without somebody there, potentially there to deflect it or to make it harder, to push you farther away from the basket. So everything is hard. You come off a screen and someone's right in your face. There's no room being conceded out there. And you could feel the Celtics struggling with that all night long. And they did a decent job, but they had to battle for everything. Nothing was easy for the Celtics tonight at all, which is, I'm amazed they were even in this game, because
it was the threes, John. And the one thing you'll say too,
the threes, and then the third quarter where they did start to attack the paint a little bit. But beyond that, like they had to work for everything. And a lot of the shots they hit were tough, contested shots. It was a really, they battled for all of it. And so that's the style that you want to see a defense play, is just up in your business all game long. And that's what, when the Celtics defense in the past has been at their best, that's what they've been. Not, I'm willing to live with that, but I don't want to give up that. And OKC like typifies that.
Yeah, and I didn't have a huge issue with the defense tonight. I know you're really picking your poison there across the board, and You're hoping the other guys can't
No,
beat
not
you there,
with
but
not with their defense, but just the style
Yeah.
that they play. OKC plays that
Right.
relentless style.
Yeah,
That's
so
really,
you're just
really
comparing
difficult.
the two. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and they force turnovers in droves. Unfortunately, I think I counted up 29 between the two games. That comes out to like 14, 15 or so, for the Celtics there per game. That's not terrible. It's a little above their average, but it's not like you were turning it over 18, 20 times a game against the Thunder, which is what the Thunder force per game, which is out of this world. So it's good that they had some ball control across these games. It's just the shot profile that the Thunder forced them into, pushing them out from the paint, forcing droves of threes. It feels like the Thunder were okay with giving up that many threes. And even though the Celtics came away from it happy with their shot quality, as you heard from all the guys across the board there, it did feel like they just weren't able to impose their will at the first layer of attack. Now, the biggest silver lining from this game is that the Thunder is still a horrendous rebounding team. And they go single big in this game, which surprised me. Hartenstein played some double big minutes with Chet that weren't very effective. And I sent you guys that stat before the game that they're just getting killed from three in that look. So that's significant to me. And the Thunder couldn't grab a rebound when they really needed to in this game, and that almost cost them. So as much as the Celtics look overwhelmed a little bit right now by this matchup, and there's some key deficiencies they have in this matchup, I think the Thunder have some stuff they have to look at coming out of this one too and be like, oh, like especially with Porzingis in there, this could be a problem for us. So I hope we see this matchup. I hope we get 7 games of this because I do think it'll be extremely competitive.
All right, Bobby, we're going to take a quick break from you for a second and go back to Jimmy and Sherrod here. So, yeah, what did you think of what Bobby said? Were you listening, Jimmy, is more important. Does he know?
Jimmy's just going to keep talking. Okay.
Yeah, he's just going to do it.
Oh, shoot. I was on mute that whole time. I just said the smartest things ever, and I'm not even going to remember them again. That's too bad. But what I will also say, John, is
also,
first of all, I was paying attention. Second of all, not only was I paying attention, but I took over for you as you very rudely, might I add, got up in the middle of Bobby speaking to you. And by the way, Bobby's response, he said, John. Sherrod, how many times did Bobby say John as he was like speaking for 5 minutes? John, I think went and like.
I had my headphones on. I heard all of it.
BS.
Bluetooth headphones, buddy. I heard it all.
You heard it all, but.
I was there for him. I
didn't
just
say
didn't respond.
anything.
At the end, did I go right back at him and say, absolutely, Bobby? And I asked to follow. I was there.
Well, anyone could say absolutely, Bobby. I do that all the time.
I was there.
Yeah. Oh, homeschool. What are we doing?
I don't know. The leaving Jimmy on mute is like pulling your car away from someone when they're trying to get into it. Like so friggin' juvenile. I don't know why I did it and why it was so funny, but yeah, we are children. Yeah, that's right, Nick. I don't know why it is.
See, and you know what? I'm always the first guy to say, John, you're on mute. How many times a show do I say, John, you're on mute? Now,
that's why I didn't
might
say
let
it.
You just scream into the
yeah. That's why I didn't say it.
I might just let you scream into the
We're gonna try a little bit of this.
Enough about me.
What?
Yeah, baby.
How about that thunder, huh? How about them thunder?
How about the thunder?
Boy, damn.
Jimmy, it usually takes you one word before you're like, hey, you're on mute. You're on mute. It's like the worst thing in the world. So I'm surprised you didn't know.
No, it was me.
No, I know it was you. I'm saying you should be the most aware of it since you're always the one that called people out.
I should have been. I'm getting used to this. You know what? John's got me so paranoid about the mic now where I'm muting myself way more than I used to because God forbid, like a pin drops near the mic and John has like a seizure.
Jimmy, you have to go back and listen to it. You have to.
You should listen to
the mic again?
The sounds that come out of you with the microphone on are 10 times as bad.
Children, we've got
company.
Hey, we only got Josue here for one show.
Hold on, is this how it goes? Is it the dynamic now?
Hold on.
Reel you guys in.
Hold on. You guys
Good
go
to have you
away.
back,
Jimmy,
Josue.
I'm going to tell you another thing. Okay?
Yeah.
This is the
Josue,
dynamic now.
So good to have you back. I'd rather listen to you.
It's just old married couple. Yeah, you guys go.
And Sherrod has to tell you guys to relax. Yeah.
So me and Josue were in on the Thunder for SGA, and I couldn't. Josue's asking some questions, great questions, but he had to remind SGA. When I was here, there was some confetti.
I was like, where are you going with this? Hey, it adds perspective, all right? And I feel like SGA kind of was like, oh, okay.
So this
you know
is-
what? That's pretty cool when you put it that way.
This is the first time Josue's been here since the championship night.
Yeah,
I
wow.
thought it was
Is this
funny.
also-
I had to let Shay know that.
Is this
Josue made
also
it about
confetti
him.
coming
I
down
love
here.
that.
Is this the best Wi-Fi you've ever had, Josue? Like, how are you going to leave?
I mean,
He's in
I think it's
4K.
better than
Good.
OKC. You remember the last
I
time
don't
I was
know.
on? OKC, it was
I'm
booming.
saying right now it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay.
I know, but this is the professional setup. But yeah. Anyways, how about this Thunder team, man? I mean, look, regardless of the mismatches,
Nothing but respect.
regardless if you have Lou Dort on Al, or whatever the case may be, I feel like that's what makes this team so special because it is really reminiscent of the Celtics, what they used to do last year, especially in the playoffs. Guys try to get Al on the island, or whether it's the other way around. I just think it's incredible what this team does when they're faced with adversity over and over again. I mean, Derek White got that block on Chet Holmgren. That didn't discourage him. I mean, this team lost the rebounding battle.
Chet was so
even though
impressive.
Chet had 15 in this one.
Yeah.
I just think it's really the fight in this team, regardless of what the scoreboard is, regardless of what kind of mismatches is going on. I think that's what makes them so special. What's up, Noah?
We were just talking, Josue.
Hey, there she
The
is.
difference
She
in
is, and-
physicality between these two teams, it's absurd.
Right.
Like the Thunder were just right on the ball, forcing, disrupting, forcing the Celtics into bad shots, disrupting their sets. Like it was just hard-nosed stuff by them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, to keep fighting, don't get into it with the refs. I mean, this one was obviously on the Thunder side, but that's not always the case. People may think that the Thunder get a lot of free throw attempts because of what SGA does, but that's not the case as a team. They often are on the other end of the free throw shooting differential. And I feel like in this game, they won that. But in the sense of the way the Celtics started in the first half with, 15 threes, I mean, they didn't lose that edge. And I think at the end of the day, if these two teams were to meet in the series, that's what it's really going to boil down to. Who survives that physicality? Who survives that top-notch defense, between the two teams? And when you look at 1 through 5, they're interchangeable in some regard, right? I mean, when you look at the way these teams matches up, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, who's gonna succeed in that type of environment? And we got a big, dose of that for 48 minutes.
And that's what I like, Noah, hearing after the game from the Celtics. Now, we can debate the shot quality and the 63 threes all day long, but for them to come out of this one, and especially Jalen, and just say, we didn't meet the level, we didn't get to the free throw line, we didn't match the physicality level the Thunder played with, I think is an important note for them to leave off on,
I'm glad
knowing
he said
that
that.
they could play this team down the line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that was
Facts,
that
my
much was
dog.
obvious, and I didn't know. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
ignore
no, I
all
was
this.
just gonna say.
I'm used
I
to
think
it. I'm
there's-
back home. I love it.
I know. No, I was just gonna say I think there is an element of like nobody has really reached the Thunder's physicality this season, and that's part of why they've been historically good. Like I mean, just like you know better than us, but have there been many games where you have felt like an opposing team has kind of reached that level and kind of hit them kind of where the way that they play. Because when you look at the standings, I mean, this team is kind of under the radar in a way because I think Cleveland's having a great season as well. But what Oklahoma City's done in the Western Conference is kind of ridiculous, and not because they have like a super team, right? Like just considering the roster, it's not like they have 4 all-stars, and so they've kind of figured out there's a certain amount of calls that are not going to happen. Refs can't call Lou Dort every time he touches somebody. That's just not the case, and so. Teams are, it's a tough spot for opposing teams to be in. I didn't think the Celtics handled it great tonight, but I also don't know that I can see anybody handling it great. And I don't know that I'm like, okay, and if they play them again, I think we could see a completely different effort. Like that's what's a little bit more worrying about it, I guess. But I don't know. Just wait, does that stand out to you as like just kind of been the story of the season?
There's a couple of outliers. Minnesota Timberwolves did a really good job defensively.
There's some teams out west.
Yeah, out west. That's why, look, this looks great right now, but getting out of the West is what really going to be the big test for this team. The Celtics, I'm a betting man, they're going to be there waiting for whoever comes out of the West.
I mean, I looked at
and
it
the
this
Thunder
morning.
have to be that team to get out because it's going to be a lot harder. We talked about it this morning, right, Bobby? It's going to be a lot harder for them to get out of the West than the Celtics is, to get out of the East.
I mean, I looked at it this morning. The first round matchup for the Thunder would be the Clippers this morning. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
That's like a Western Conference Finals level matchup, round 1.
I mean, and then if you pass that, which I think they should, but
it's Denver.
Denver,
Something
that's
that.
a tough matchup. Western Conference Finals, shoot, could be the Lakers. Who knows? I mean, that's the thing about this team, and that's why they're not going to get too high on this, especially someone like Mark Dagnall. I mean, if someone asked him about a potential final series against the Celtics in June, he was like, "We're in March."
I did that to Jalen Williams at the All-Star game, and I got a similar answer.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of people kind of on the same page. I mean, SGA couldn't help himself, right? He's just like, "No, this is huge. Like, we won, we beat the champ." But I still think he keeps things into perspective, knowing that they have a way tougher road than the Celtics do to get to the finals.
We've done this before. Noah, Jimmy, Sherrod. Denver last year, we felt it was inevitable. Celtics, Nuggets. So we did this a year ago.
Right.
To me, though, this just feels a little bit more inevitable. Like, it's going to be tough for the Thunder to get through, yes. I think they're going to do it. It's going to be tough for the Celtics to get through the Cavs and all the other teams in the East, but I think they're going to do it.
But why do you think it's inevitable, though? What, are you thinking that the Thunder and the Celtics, like, they look at each other like it's the Spider-Man meme? Like, you think it's a very, very similar, like,
when these two teams reach their highest level, I don't think anyone else in their conferences are going to be able to match that level. That's just how I feel about it. Things can happen, injuries, whatever else. It's not like it's 100% chance this is going to happen, but it's such a good chance to me that you have to look at 2 losses and 2 pretty decisive losses to them and just be like, oh, this doesn't look great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it's all about what happens in the playoffs, but I mean, what a fun series this would be, though.
Oh, so great.
Man, I would love to see that happen for sure.
Facts.
Did I lose you guys?
No,
you got all your takes out already? Damn it.
I told Jimmy to drive the conversation.
And you jumped back on, so I thought maybe that was when you were off, and then you jumped back on.
Come on, Jimmy, say
you didn't
it.
like your driving, I guess. Damn,
Facts,
Jimmy.
my dog. Come on.
I mean, no,
Yeah,
I'm listening to you guys. Listen.
Sherrod's
Josue,
eating over here.
We
What's
got
going
Josue on. I want to hear a little bit more about OKC. Josue, what you saw from OKC tonight, is that just what they do? Bully ball, physicality, make teams, take outside shots. I mean, that on one hand plays into the Celtics what they want to do, which is to take outside shots. But on the other hand, on a night like tonight, when they're not fouling the way they typically do, OKC comes out with the win. But this could have gone differently if a few shots fall
for sure
for the Celtics that should have. You could be talking about a different outcome tonight. So I mean, is it matchup based with OKC, or is that just how they typically are defending everybody, pushing everybody to the outside and being physical?
I mean, that's usually how they defend. I mean, that's what really catapults their offense, their fast break opportunities. Yeah. I mean, whether it's guys like Chet Holmgren running in SGA, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that stuff is interchangeable. I mean, Isaiah Joe had a great game. I thought Cason Wallace made some big stops. I mean, they're really tough defensively. I mean, if you look at the numbers historically, it's one of the better defensive teams
I can't get over what Chet did tonight.
Ever. Like the NBA's ever had, or especially over the last 15, 20 years or so. I mean, they're that good on defense, and obviously we all know what SGA is to their offense, but man, even on a night where you don't have Jalen Williams, your second All-Star, Chet Holmgren comes in a huge spot. But it wasn't just him. I mean, we're talking about 6 guys finishing double figures. It's a group effort for sure, and their depth is what really, personally, I think puts them over the edge to win. To come out of the Western Conference. But it's their defense that's truly their identity.
Josue, did anyone talk about their interior defense in this game? Because I thought they absolutely took anything and every attempt early on away from the Celtics to score anything outside of threes. Did anyone talk about that post game?
Not really, but that's a really good point, Sherrod. I mean, I just feel like they sort of forced the Celtics to beat them from the 3, and that never changed.
They played off Horford too. There was 1-3
right.
where Horford was just like
they just left him out there, right? And I thought it was interesting to see what was going to happen in the second half after the Celtics made 15 of them in the first half, but they continued to stick with their game plan, and it panned out for them for sure.
On a non-OKC topic, a trend recently, we talked about it in terms of blowing leads and or comebacks, but less concerning than giving up a lead is the Celtics' fourth quarter offense, which has been particularly bad, especially in losses. What's happening here in the fourth quarter where things kind of just have gone off the rails, especially in these games they've struggled?
They slow down. I feel like that's a big thing.
That was always a thing in the past. Is that what's happening again now? It's just slowing down. I know in that you get a lot of ISO matchup hunting. You can't really do that against OKC. So just another case where I hate just saying the shots just didn't fall. It's been a problem. They have their offensive rating. I think I saw numbers recently. It's like in their losses, it's like 25th overall in the NBA just in the fourth quarter, just the way that they're playing, or their offensive rating is really low. They've really been struggling here. And again, that was the case again tonight, where they make a few shots or they, they're in this game and they couldn't get there.
Yeah, the pace stands out to me now. Beyond that, like I know Joe mentioned some of the timely rebounds. I feel like that's an area where the Celtics won in this game. Early, Chet hurt them there, but late, I think it's pace. I think it's slowing down. And, when your defense isn't rolling, that makes it difficult to get out on the attack and get ahead of the defense and be able to create advantages that weren't there in the half court. And, Jalen said it, Noah, there were guys that they were trying to attack who still put up massive resistance. And so when the defense is set for Oklahoma there, or anyone in the fourth quarter, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think one of my
Noah
takeaways
wasn't
from this
listening.
one is that I'm always listening. That I don't know that there's really a good way to slow down or stop SGA, and he wasn't even huge in this one. He's just been doing what he's been doing all season. But I feel like with these other stars, Jalen has like a good approach to slowing them down, and I don't think that Jalen really has a grasp on guarding SGA, and maybe nobody does. Maybe that's why he's maybe going to be MVP this season. But it doesn't really answer your fourth quarter question. But I do kind of feel like there is
They're not getting stops.
Yeah, he had like a normal game. It didn't feel like he went off or did anything crazy. He's always going to get those calls. He's always going to be able to draw those fouls. So I don't know, that to me is my biggest takeaway walking away from this game is like you're going to have to come up with something different in the finals than what we've seen throughout these two games so far.
We talked about it going into this game. Where was Tatum on him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so limited last year. It was literally just the fourth quarter of that game on the road at Oklahoma City.
Why is Tatum on Lou Dort?
Yeah.
Hey, you can do a lot worse than Lou Dort. All right, Bob.
Lou Dort is very underrated. But yes.
He's coming off a career high in threes. He had 8
get,
threes.
There was a stretch early in this game, though, where SGA was going by Jalen every single time with ease. And then, you saw bits and pieces of Tatum. I want to go back and look at the numbers of like how often he was there, but I just didn't notice it enough in this game. And you mentioned it in our preview, Noah. That game a couple of years ago, they lost. But Tatum held SGA, I think, to 0 for 3 in the fourth quarter. You need that size. You need that physicality against him. You can't bring help because there's too many shot makers on that team. Are they saving it for the finals? I don't know.
So that's what I was wondering. They didn't really show much today from a schematic standpoint that was different from what we saw defensively in Oklahoma City. And I wondered if there was things that they are sitting on that they're wondering about that maybe we would see game one of the finals, that they just felt like there was no advantage to showcasing that or trying that out today. And again, every defender has guys that they struggle with. Drew Holiday's on the record for saying that SGA is one of the hardest matchups for him, and we haven't really seen them try to even put Drew on him. So the same way that Jalen has a good grasp on Luka and can obviously bother him, because again, these guys, it's not about limiting their stats. Like they're always going to have great stat lines, but SGA was comfortable today. That's the thing that stood out to me. He didn't seem bothered at all by what the Celtics were doing, and so that's what I wonder if the Tatum thing is something that they're kind of keeping in their back pocket. If it was such a small sample that maybe we got too excited about it, and in reality, there's a fundamental reason why it wouldn't work for an extended stretch. But thinking about this matchup, like that is the story. This guy has shoulders as much of a load for one team as maybe anybody in the league except for Jokic. And I don't know that we saw anything good today as far as like, okay, that worked for a stretch or this worked or whatnot. So I think they just didn't show kind of with the things that they might pull out in June if this worked out, but maybe not. Maybe something different.
The thing about SGA is that it really doesn't matter what you do. He's going to play at his pace. That's why he's such an absolute killer in the fourth quarter, because his pace in attacking you in the fourth is no different than it is in the third or the second or the first. He's never sped up. He's always probing. He's consistently getting to the spots that he wants to get to, and he's creating the mismatches that he wants. And that is why there's such an incredibly difficult team. And you compound that with the fact that they have a level of defensive versatility and switchability that is on par with the Celtics. And if you look around the NBA, it's the Celtics and OKC that has that top tier 1 through 5 switchability where guys, frankly, aren't getting toasted night in, night out. this is a really, really good team. And if if the Celtics are fortunate enough to get to the finals and OKC is waiting, it's a 7-game series.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody, rank them right now. 1, 2, 3. OKC, Celtics, Cavs. Go, Noah.
As far as likelihood to win the championship, or
just rank them. Best teams. Who's the
favorite
top 3
city?
teams? Rank them. Yeah. Best ice cream. Best vegan ice cream.
Celtics,
no, top
Thunder,
3 teams.
Cavs. Celtics,
Thunder, Cavs. Okay.
I'll go. Thunder,
Yep.
Celtics, Cavs.
I think that's what everyone else is going to say.
Well, let's
Yep.
find out.
Thunder, Celtics, Cavs. Yep.
No one knows who signs their
mute you
checks
just while
over
you're
there at
muted.
Celtics Plug. Yeah. Oh yeah, I muted them.
They don't sign my checks.
I know. I'm just kidding.
All right, Bobby.
I think you can't argue with the results. You can't argue with the results. Thunder 1, Celtics 2.
I'm not going to.
Cavs,
You can
Celtics.
argue with 2-game stretch for the regular season. I will say.
No, I'm just saying you're taking a snapshot. You've seen what you've seen,
Right.
not just against one another, but against other teams in the league, and just deciding. I think this is the best team in the league, and I think it's the Thunder.
Yeah, and you know we
Josue,
threw a lot
does
of
he
other
get a
factors
response?
into there, but yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of
Josue,
convinced me,
there's
but I don't
a lot of people here welcoming you back, so careful what you say. I'm just saying.
No, honestly, I still want to give the edge to the Celtics because I just, like we talked about this morning, Bobby, I got to see what this looks like with Kristaps Porzingis. It's just, I have to, it's just, and Jalen Williams
We
not
saw it
being
in
on the side.
Oklahoma.
I know, but then there was no Chet. So, it's really, you put me in a tough spot here, man.
Come on, man.
I'm going to go Celtics, Thunder, Cavs, really, honestly.
Wow.
Because this team is such a different team with Kristaps, especially in that Cavs-Celtics matchup, which obviously we got more of, a dose of compared to this. I would love to see 4 games in the regular season between these two teams, but that's not possible, right? So I don't know, man. When Kristaps is out there, when he's at his best, I'm giving the edge to the Celtics.
So it's
We
settled.
might not be giving
Cavs
enough
are
love to the
trash.
Cavs either, but yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, we got Cavs.
it's 2-2, Jimmy, and to me, I really don't want to underrate them or disrespect them because I do think they could pose a lot of problems for Boston in a series. But I have questions about them getting through round 2, depending on who the opponent is. And the Celtics just won the majority of the stretches of those games. The Cavs stole little stretches that stole 2 games for them. And, that's why it's 2-2. But the overwhelming majority of those 4 games, I felt like the Celtics dominated. I know it's 2 games, Noah, but the Thunder controlled this 2-game series here. The massive stretches
Especially in the second
of
half.
this game and the one we saw in Oklahoma City, they were decisively better than the Celtics in those stretches. And again, the Celtics weren't far off tonight, and they led at halftime in that Oklahoma game. So they're not far off, but I do think you have to put them second behind Oklahoma based on what we've seen so far and the records.
Yeah. Axe my dog.
I love
Yeah,
how
I
Cavs
guess-
will get the
Noah
benefit
just
for the
got
record, though.
bodied.
It's 2-2.
But I'm with
No, I
you.
didn't.
I'm with you.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
you're
No, I
right.
thought you
That's
mean
what
like
happened.
overall.
Sometimes when
Bodied.
Bobby says things like you have to, then it makes me want to argue with his framing. I wanted to be like, well, I don't have to. But then I was like, that's not how I should be conducting myself. So then Jimmy, you called me out to explain it.
Yeah, you're out of
no,
control.
no.
I love the honesty. That's
We
That's
Well,
pretty
just
spot on. You do that a
watching
lot. Yeah, that's true.
Noah, you're
Yeah, because I'll be like,
hysterical.
there's no way you can say this. And I'm
calm
like,
down.
there is a
Like,
way.
do
And
I, Bobby?
I just-
Do I have to do that? Yeah, that's true. He does
No,
do
you
that.
know what I
Noah.
mean?
Good
Like the way
call.
he talks, and it's like it
Yeah.
happens in the corner. So what I was
I just
gonna say,
want the scoreboard to matter.
it does matter. That's a fundamental difference between us, actually. I just think a 2-game matchup in the regular season, I'm not gonna.
I'm not saying the
have
Celtics
that.
can't beat them.
Of course not. And I think we both would agree that like it could go either way. I would pick the experience that they have, the fact that they've been there before, the fact that they've actually been to the finals twice and conference finals, whatever it is, 6 times over a Thunder team that genuinely has never seen this style of play go into the playoffs. So they just haven't. They've never even made the conference finals. And again, it's not diminishing the regular season success, but this is not the first time we've seen a great regular season team that has never had a real playoff run. And I'm not diminishing their chances because the Nuggets were the same case 2 years ago. A lot of people didn't believe in them because they hadn't had that playoff run, and all it takes is one time.
Or
where
the
everything
Celtics
clicks
last
to
year.
win a championship. Well, the Celtics had been there before, so I
They'd
think
been
that
there, but still, they were like, "Oh, they'll never get over the hump. This isn't a championship team," and people believe that's why so many people picked against them. They just didn't believe. No, the one thing I will say is I don't like that. I don't like hinging your hopes on the other team becoming worse because the spotlight gets too big. So that's where, like, I think a
I'm not
lot of
hoping
people.
anything. I just that's what it goes into my
I'm saying a lot of people. I think that's what they look at it is. They default to the Celtics for that reason. Is when the playoffs come around, they'll be better and this team will be worse. And I just think that that's dangerous thinking because it might happen, but you're hoping something you see with your eyes is different because one team's going to shrink. And I don't love putting your hopes on that in that basket. Yeah.
One other thing I'll add is that Jaylen Brown has not been good in these 2 games versus Oklahoma City. I do think there are tactical things that they're doing. It's not a coincidence. I also think that his body of work and the fact that in reality, like if you look at his playoff performances for the most part, he does elevate his game and he does step up in these moments. I think he's going to figure it out. I don't think that this is going to be, I don't think a 7-game series versus Oklahoma City, he would look like the way he looked today and the second half of last game. If he does, then scrap that. Oklahoma's the better team. Like I do think that kind of his individual ability to kind of be more physical, be more aggressive, play through contact, make better decisions, deal with Lou Dort guarding him. That he's going to be kind of like the X factor for the series.
Did I almost feel like Noah that they wanted him shooting though? Like if I'm them, I love the shots he took against them. They were just all really difficult.
I mean, I think he pretty much said it.
Yeah, and that's always the balance with him. It's like he'll take those and hit them in droves, and you're like, that's awesome. Yeah. And then there'll be games that look like this, and you're like, oh, those weren't great shots. So it's always a fine line with him.
Right, and they make him work. I mean, that was another thing too. Like whether it was him chasing around SGA in the beginning, which that didn't last. But I just feel like either way, because the Thunder's offense is always so fluid, like he has to do a lot more work. I feel like when he plays the Thunder on the defensive end, because all these guys are a threat, whether it's from behind the 3-point arc or whether when they're in attack mode. So I think that's also plays a part as well. And he just couldn't find his offense. I mean, he got his first bucket in what was it, the second quarter? And then still, even from that, he couldn't really build.
Randy tweeted out that he went scoreless for 31 straight minutes between last game and this game.
Yeah. So while we're on the topic of this, there's really only one thing left we can do before we wrap this show. The chat was begging for it.
Yeah.
Noah's expression never, her face didn't move.
Did not. I was
wasn't
waiting
even a
and
slight
nothing
smile.
happened.
It was like this the whole time.
Nothing
segment.
registered. Nothing. She's just dead inside.
I think there should be the flip side of a blame pie for when they
Yeah, credit cake.
Credit cake, baby.
Credit cake.
Credit cake.
You give out the
I hear
brownie
about
award.
after losses, but I don't hear about
Participation awards on the
cake.
Garden Report. What's going on?
We get the
here?
brownie point.
Yeah.
We get the brownie
Whatever it's
award
called,
on.
brownie
Yeah,
award.
that's good. That's better than the participation cake. Whatever
No,
that
we'll
you
let
guys
you
call
give
it.
out a brownie award if you want tonight too, even though they lost. But
Yeah, we give out tofu.
I think you should give it SGA.
Yeah.
Booty
we want to.
trophies. What?
Yeah.
Noah, you can choose. You want to go first? You want to get it out of the way?
No. No.
You don't want to go. Okay, you want. Okay,
You got to do it.
Okay, someone
I'll
else
go.
go.
You have to.
What's the biggest slice? What's the biggest slice Noah's giving out on a blame pie?
Like 20% because she refuses to give anyone like the majority.
Hey,
She turned the
someone
camera.
else. Someone else, not Noah.
Joe
I'm just
Sway,
kidding.
fire
I'm
it
sorry.
up.
I gotta slice this
I
thing
got
up. I don't even know where to begin.
Joe
She's
Sway
gonna
doesn't want to
leave.
do it
She's
either.
gonna-
Joe
she's
Sway
gonna leave
honorary.
and
John.
come back.
Joe Sway is
Nah,
the
sure,
honorary.
that's you, man. I'll start doing math
John
right now in my
Lena.
head. Go ahead.
The 80%, the refs cost us this one.
Yeah.
It was the
100%
refs.
Everyone in pinstripes.
Not 40%, Joe.
Yeah.
No.
You're at 120. I love it. That's my type of pie. I'll go. I'll go.
Do it, Jimmy.
I'll go.
No
I'm
one
gonna
makes a better
go-
pie than Jimmy.
I'm gonna go
All the refs,
45%.
kid.
45% Jalen.
Wow.
20%. Wait, so we're at 45. Okay.
Oh,
25% Pritchard. So we're at 60.
You're one number in, Jimmy, and you're losing count.
Hey, come on, Phil.
Once you,
Yeah,
Jimmy,
right,
once
Mike.
you start doing fives, you're screwed.
That's why I did double five. I got back. I did double five. I got back.
thought I was the only one.
You had no idea how much was left.
45 was a tough one to start with. All right.
Jimmy's like, carry the 2.
We're going to do 50. We're going to do 50 for Jalen. I'm going to do 30 for Pritchard. I'm going to do, all right, so I'm at 80. I'm going to do 10 for Missoula. And I'm
Can
going to
Jimmy
do,
get to 100?
I just
Got
want
10
to,
more.
I don't want to miss somebody. I'm going to do 10 for Hauser. That's 100. 4 people. 50, 30,
That's not bad.
10, and 10.
Did you give any to Joe?
I did.
You get 40, right? 40%
I
Joe?
gave 30. I gave Jalen
30.
50.
Hauser? What did you give Hauser, Jimmy?
10.
10.
Okay.
No, right? Yeah, I gave
Yeah,
Hauser 10.
It's Jalen and Joe. You give like 40 to Jalen, 20 to Joe. I'll go a little less on Jalen because I like the aggressiveness and the assertiveness going inside when they needed that in this one. No one else was giving them that.
problem.
He spent 20 minutes in his press conference saying how he wasn't aggressive.
Someone just needed to go into the paint though, and it felt like he was the only guy who was doing that.
What was
consistently in this
everyone's
game.
problem with Joe?
63 threes. You're
Bobby.
just not altering. You're not altering the offensive approach enough to
Noah's
me.
disappointed, Bobby. Noah,
I just hate the 63 threes thing.
It's not about the number though, Joe. No,
Noah
it's
hates
the fact
Bobby
that
tonight.
they couldn't find other. They couldn't find other ways to access the paint, and to me, it's the cutting. You needed to integrate more cutting. You needed to just diversify the way you were going about the offense in this one. They just kind of slammed their head into the mismatches sometimes and drive in the traffic and, turn the ball over in key spots in this game. So, Joe does deserve a little bit of the blame there. Not much. I'm going 20 there. And then, you start just going down to some of the other guys who weren't very present in this game. I'll give 20 to Pritchard. I'll give 10 to Sam. And, Holiday gets 10 as well. I feel like it wasn't super effective in this game.
Okay. Solid pie.
Not bad
Sherrod?
All right. Jalen, 60.
Craig, can we throw Craig in there too?
60.
Who committed that awful foul?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
You're
look,
going
that
to
was-
give Craig for the 3-point foul?
You're right.
Yeah.
Craig
Craig
better get to know Xavier Tillman really well, because they're going to be spending a lot of time together.
Give
I was
Craig
talking
a slice
about him
tonight.
earlier. I'm like, what happened to X?
If
This
you
dude's
ever
on the
want to
team.
give him a slice, do it now.
Grab
'cause
a
you might not
seat.
get another opportunity to give him a slice.
I don't know.
Grab a
Yeah, when
seat.
we're gonna see him again after
To
that.
know one another.
Craig, 10.
It's brutal.
Joe,
Sure.
10.
I can't believe,
So you're at
I can't believe
80?
Craig gets a
Pritchard
slice for that
10.
foul.
90.
It's so bad.
It was bad.
And the last 10%,
How's
give me 5 for Sam and give me 5 for the refs.
Ooh,
The refs.
Okay. Ref's going to take a piece.
They got to get some
Yeah.
of that pie too.
Shove it down their freaking throats.
They get a
You
little
got the calls for
sliver.
that batch, Ron?
Yeah.
Bad enough. There were a couple.
Yeah.
There were a couple head scratchers.
It wasn't so much the calls were bad. They weren't able to get into a flow. The fact that the game was over and one of the first thoughts that comes to mind of the refs means they probably had a crappy game. When games end and you don't think about the refs, that usually means they did a good job. That did not happen in this game.
Casey Wallace said it happens all the time.
All right,
And you just got a
Josue.
ball at the end of the day. I'm
We've
just
tossed-
reporting, Jimmy.
No,
All right,
we
that's what he said.
We want your report on the pie.
Oh, you want my pie? Oh, shoot. All right.
We've had a lot of time.
He doesn't do a
All right.
pie. His team won.
That's right.
His team is the
Give us a
Celtics. He'd
credit
still
cake.
pick the Celtics to beat
He's
the
out.
Thunder.
He's pie exempt.
I'd give Jalen the biggest piece. Put it that
All
way,
right.
for sure. And I'm glad he took that accountability.
I'll give Jalen 50, and not because he bears all responsibility, just simply if he just
Bears
plays a
half.
slightly better game, they win. And
Shout
you
out to
needed
Tatum
more.
though.
You needed more from him. Tatum was fine. I'm going to give 30 to Kristaps Doctors.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna happen. I was waiting for you to bring up Kristaps Doctors.
You should have said something.
It's a
I
good.
was
It's a
putting
good
it- I
one.
was putting it in the
That's
chat.
a good one.
Which, by the way, he spent some time on the bench
You're
tonight.
so
What was that
incorrect.
about? What if he's trying? What if that
man.
virus is passed along to his teammates?
Get out of my head, Noah.
Or did I just say something too serious?
30 to Kristaps doctors.
Yeah.
I'm worried about
I'm gonna give Noah. Where am I going with the rest?
That's all I
You
had.
You got
Oh,
20.
that's all you had? Just one.
I was thinking about bringing up Kristaps doctors, but I was like, John's gonna do it. So.
All right, John. Yeah.
Yeah,
Take
I
that
don't.
one.
I don't know who else. I'm not giving Joe the blame for the 63s. Like, I actually not mad about the 63s. I think that's just they took what they had there. They couldn't get into the paint in the first quarter.
If they're given 100 threes, they're gonna take 100 threes. Like there's gotta be
I
some
agree,
balance
Bobby.
there.
John has lost his damn mind if he's just like if.
I am, but I'm gonna give the rest to the bench, but mainly Pritchard and Hauser. We keep looking for evidence that
The
those
Pritchard
guys
thing's real here.
will disappear against the tough teams. Again, small sample sizes. Both guys have been really bad in the 2 OKC games. I'm not banging Pritchard for all good opponents though, because he's played well against some good teams. And in the 2 game, he had a good game against Cleveland, a mid game, a bad game. So I'm not going there, but this one was really tough for those guys. And I think it was tough to get free, to get the type of breathing room to get their shots off. Didn't mean they couldn't have knocked some of them down, but it was a really tough match. Like, I didn't feel good when those guys were out there in this game. It felt like they were a little bit overwhelmed.
And they had to go back to Tatum like immediately in the fourth.
How about Luke appearing in Nobody's Pies? He was incredible.
Stop, Bobby. Noah, go.
Incredible.
You're gonna let her off the hook.
Okay, I thought that we sometimes I feel like the
No.
wave has passed and I'm
Nope.
free.
Nope.
Okay. I've been crunching numbers over here. I hope they
You're
add up.
riding the wave.
You kicked off Sherrod. He was so upset. Oh, no, he's back.
I have a Google Doc open. I've been
was
trying out
Sherrod.
different combinations. Okay, 45% Jalen, 10% Joe, 10% Peyton, 10% Drew. Sorry, 20% Peyton, 10% Drew, 5% Torrey Craig. Sorry, and I'm going to a little controversial. 10% for Jason Tatum because he was 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter, and
Went
even though
cold in the fourth.
he had a great game and he's a great player, but if you're the MVP on the team and he's been so consistent for them of late, like he has to take a little bit of the blame for why he wasn't able to close things out. So Jalen gets
I like
most
that.
of the load, but I think
I
Tatum.
like Tatum.
I think it was 105% though.
That's
No.
a good
Say
pie,
again?
Noah.
No,
There's no
what?
chance Noah's wrong. For someone who hates blame pie, you take it way more seriously than the rest of us.
I know.
Well, because
Get the
I
Excel
don't. I can't,
spreadsheet
first of all,
up.
the math
That's the
can't
best.
happen in
That's
my
the
head.
most thought out blame pie in history.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
Listen,
We'll do
if
this
you're
again.
forcing me to, if you're forcing me to participate,
That's
I'm
what we
gonna-
asked
Why
for.
do you hate Jason Tatum though? No,
Yeah.
seriously. Why do you?
When did this start? No, when did this start? One day I came on here and all the comments were Noah hates Jason Tatum, and
Wait,
since
why
then
did you
nobody's
give
ever
Joe?
explained it to me.
You said
Why did
something.
you give? You didn't say something. Why did you give Joe 10?
So I think my one qualm with Joe is that I felt like defensively I would have liked to see a different looks on SGA, if not
Yeah.
just for like research purposes. Again, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I think that there may be the element of like not wanting to show their hand, but I was dying to watch Tatum guard him for just a little. So why not? Like that was my main thing. Is I just felt like defensively that your game plan should be to like make him uncomfortable, and I don't feel like he was. And part of it is just Jalen struggled, but you got a lot of great defenders on your team. So trying something else is like maybe the one thing that I was hoping to see.
Yeah, that's fair. Surprised that didn't happen. I thought
I
that
was
was
done too. I thought it was inevitable.
She's in the
Right,
kitchen
exactly.
cutting up the
at some point in the
pie.
second half.
She used to hate
I
it.
was
Now
re-
she loves it.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting sliced.
All
Honestly,
those
that's
people
the
that are
be-
always telling me to get back in the kitchen. I made my
That's
blame
the best.
pie.
That's
There
the
you go.
best pie.
Vegan.
What? Who said that?
Noah made the best
rude.
pie by far. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so we are now. The season is over. The Celtics are the 2 seed, and we're waiting
great
to see
run,
who their
guys.
opponent is in the
can't stop the
playoff
band out
game.
here, right?
And that's it, guys. That's it. We'll see you around April 15th for the
Will we
next
see
show.
Josue in June?
I hope so.
That'd
From
be
your
too.
from your voice to God's ears, Jimmy. Because that
I
would
hope
be
so too,
a
Josue.
great series, man. That'd be the
I
best
got a
finals.
couch with
honestly.
your name on it, man. If you need a place to crash.
Oh
for the-
man,
for the,
appreciate that,
yeah.
Jimmy.
But
Got it.
but to
I'll-
return
still
the
look at that,
favor, you have to put up 7 of us.
Yeah,
When
that's
we
the
come
other
out
thing. We're all coming to OKC, and we're sleeping on your
We all
couch.
did the show there. It'd be good.
No, seriously, you have to find us an Airbnb in a good neighborhood close to the arena. We're all coming.
with
What?
electricity, internet connection, like things
Seriously,
that-
I'm not messing around.
The works. All right.
We need
It
it all.
That's
Yeah.
a, that's a fair. That's a fair deal.
With a pool.
Noah doesn't think it's going to be Celtics Thunder. Wow.
No.
Mathematically,
yourself,
it's
Noah.
unlikely.
You got to pick the field. You got to pick the
You
field.
got to take the field.
Come on,
should make
Noah.
travel
It's going to be the
plans.
field versus the field.
All right. Well, we're gonna save the tape here. So who's gonna meet the Celtics in the final? 'Cause I know you got them in the final.
The field.
She refuses to pick.
I'm just trying to trigger Bobby. When I say the field, Bobby
Clippers,
OKC has the
Timberwolves,
best
Nuggets,
but they also
Grizzlies,
have
Rockets.
less than a 50% chance of getting there.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
pulling-
I
I'm
love
pulling
that though.
for the
They have the
Warriors,
best
I
chance,
think.
but it's unlikely. The Warriors, huh?
How about Cavs
I would
Thunder?
love that series. No offense, Josue. I'd rather see that.
Yeah, I'm
Cavs
sorry,
Thunder.
buddy.
I won't be offended.
Josue
No, just
will be
'cause-
back
yeah.
for that. We'll be back for that one too. We'll just be covering this.
They'll be done, yeah.
That'd be incredible. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be as good as the Celtics, but why you say that? No, you're saying because of how I feel towards Cleveland, like the city. Or?
No, I said I would rather see Celtics Warriors. No offense, because Thunder would mean they would be back.
Oh, I thought you said
But-
you'd rather see Thunder Cavs. No offense. I'm like, I'm not a
Celtics
No.
Lakers.
Why would I want that?
Nobody.
I know, that's why I was like, why are
the
you saying
NBA does not want that either.
No.
All right.
They want the Lakers
Bye, guys.
there. That's what worries me really.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's a good.
this
matchup
is
for the Celtics.
this is
Let's
the
be honest.
best.
The NBA would love a Lakers Celtics series, like another chapter
This
in the rivalry.
basketball would be
Luka,
amazing.
LeBron.
But the least intriguing matchup. It's just really good basketball. But like, I also don't want to.
Yeah.
No offense. I'm sure maybe Oklahoma City's nice. I don't want to go there. Noah went there and it was the coldest she's ever been in her life. Right? Is that where you
Ever.
guys were?
You,
and Bobby?
guys
Yeah.
are freezing.
It was 50-mile-an-hour winds that day. -4 wind chill.
Yeah, it gets windy a little
There's
bit.
a bone chill I still have from that day. It's literally the worst.
I can't believe I've seen that amount of snow, and then we got another snowstorm after you guys left. So crazy. Actually, wait, you guys left before the first storm. Actually, that was just like a little appetizer, I guess. I don't know. I didn't expect that at all, man. I didn't even know that happens in Oklahoma City.
Dreadful weather there.
Yeah.
Josue,
That whole city
before
shuts
you
down.
go, like, how would you rate like OKC like as a city so far?
It's
Like
not
what, a scale
fair,
of 1 to 10?
That's not
Yeah.
fair. He's coming from Boston. Come on, Jimmy.
Be
Come on. What are you
careful.
doing? What are you doing?
I
Wait,
mean,
you
like,
mean
I
you
would
mean
say-
rank the cities? Are you saying just
don't
rank
it. Like, how would
OKC
you
overall?
rate? How would you rate OKC? Is it like a place where like you would ever go if you weren't working there?
Like for vacation? I don't know.
Maybe for yeah.
I don't think it'd
That's
be
an
my
interesting way to
I don't
frame
think
it.
it'll be in my top 10 of vacation cities if I'm being honest.
I would say vacation, but let's say you found yourself there for work. All right, I'm there for a day. I'm in OKC for a day for work. Where am I going? Where do I have to go? I got
Oh,
one
you gotta
day.
go to Bricktown. You gotta go to Bricktown.
Has anyone ever gone to OKC for a vacation?
Bricktown.
Like
No,
an actual
no,
like pack up
absolutely
the
not.
van, kids. We're going to
Yeah.
OKC. Like
Yeah, it's like
unless
the
you're
joke of
Those are
Noah.
sometimes-
It's like the
those
joke
are
of Noah
sometimes-
joke about Cleveland. Like, hey kids, let's go to Cleveland this summer. Like, it's the same thing for OKC. Like, I'll be
Sometimes those
honest,
end
like,
up being the
most-
best trips. Maybe you're on a
most
road
people,
trip and you're
if I had to
driving
guess,
through.
maybe 85% of the people who are visiting OKC either have family or they're there for work. So, I mean, don't cut this clip and use it.
But
for
those
later,
sometimes
but
could be
let's
nice
be
cities because
honest.
you feel like
Or
in
the
one day you can
tourism
see everything.
department.
You know?
or the army base. Visiting
no
someone
one from OKC is watching this, right?
I don't
You
think
never
anyone
know.
can.
They watched last time.
Put it this way: direct flights do not exist. Like you have to go through a city.
The
to
game
get
was
to
great
OKC.
though. Great fans, great arena. That was a great experience.
Best crowd of the year.
Okay, today?
Yeah.
So no, Oklahoma City.
No, that game.
Of
Oh,
all the road games I've been to, that was by far the best crowd of the year.
Yeah, I guess rowdy. The Paycom.
I don't know that it was better than Celtics Lakers, but
yeah, it's like a
Yeah, I mean it's not. Yeah, it's not
roof
Garden
over their
level.
head
I mean,
and
this
like
place,
a
but-
warm meal for a couple hours. I'd go too.
I know I was kind of thinking of that. Walking around the downtown is just a ghost town. I was like, there's only one option for this Sunday afternoon, and it's Paycom Arena. So that was it. Makes
I mean,
sense.
you got to go to Bricktown though. Like the downtown, it's just people just work there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of buildings and stuff. but
Why did you
Bricktown?
Bricktown's a good time.
Bricktown.
Why did you
What's
choose
up?
the Bricktown? Why didn't you take us?
Because you were so cold. You wanted to just go home. we grabbed food and you wanted to head out. So
in June, the gang goes to Bricktown.
Yes, come through. I got a place. It's walking distance.
There's no reason for us to still be here right now. So we're gonna wrap it up.
No, let's talk about Bricktown some more. No, I'm just kidding.
You get a little bit more Garden Report action if you check out the Celtics All Access channel. We do thank all of you out there who contributed with super chats. That was super nice of you. Yeah, we once again, quick shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today. Put in the promo code CLNS. Play 5, get 50 in your account instantly. You don't have to win. Just bang in your account, 50. Prize Picks, run your game. Celtics hit the road next for, is it Brooklyn, then Miami? Friday, Saturday?
Yes.
I think it's Miami.
Miami, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Noah will be there.
Yes, sir.
Noah's going to Miami?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah.
You lucky reporter, you.
My brother's coming with me it was his birthday present that he can stay in my hotel.
What?
Very cool.
Wow. You're such a nice sister.
It's like kind of a fake gift, but yeah.
Yeah.
With the way Miami's going, the direction Miami's going, I don't think we'll be going to Miami anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know about Miami's nightlife. Does it have a Bricktown equivalent?
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Bricktown on coke, dude.
Hey. You can do a lot. Or maybe you can't do much.
I like Oklahoma City. Everybody was very nice also, I have to say.
Oh man, I'm still not used to it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're nice there?
I'm used to the rudeness.
Really nice.
I'm used to the rudeness of Boston. So when people just random strangers ask me how I'm doing, I'm looking at them like, I don't know you.
Yeah, you got a problem? Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean? How am I doing?
Right.
You mean have a
Where
nice
I know
day?
you from? Yeah, you have a nice day. That's how I respond.
Yeah.
What the fuck's your problem, bro?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
My day's going fine, thank you. Get the hell out
And
of
within
here.
a 5-minute conversation, they'll be like, "Are you from the East Coast?" They just know. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm maybe." They think New York though. They guess New York.
Usually they get me for the speed of my talking because nobody talks that fast out there. They just kind of, I think that might be it too. That's the giveaway, not the not the meanness. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We hit the 2-hour mark. I was filibustering there at the end.
Is that the 2-hour mark? Oh man.
Yeah. So we
quick.
did it. We did it. Congratulations, everybody. Welcome back, Josue, albeit briefly. We may or may not see you in the NBA Finals. More content from Josue coming up on
Maybe
our
I have an accent
Celtics
by
All
then.
Access channel. You can also still catch him on the Cedric Maxwell podcast. Of course, thanks to Noah Dalzell, You Got Boston podcast, as well as Celtics blog, Sherrod Blakely, the Big Three podcast. And you have to sign up for his Substack if you want all of his NBA related content. Jimmy just kind of hangs. He's just, he's all right.
You know where to find me.
He's
I still haven't launched the Jimmy John podcast.
In your hearts. It's coming. It's coming.
He's a good egg.
If you do, make sure it's has nothing to do with sports. I think that'd be great. Just a random podcast, two of you.
Nobody cares.
Jimmy, you should plug your music. This is a good opportunity.
They tolerate it.
Nah,
here.
no one's gonna go anyways. It's all good. No,
I never miss one. I never miss one.
What a bummed out musician. Damn it, Jimmy.
It's all good.
Plug your
It's
stuff.
all good. It's just a hope and dream of mine.
That's
all right. I'm not going.
Folk singer vibe. It's
Josue's been, Bobby's been. They represent. My dogs. No, we'll get the crew to a gig someday. But I got a meeting. I have a meeting with a new venue tomorrow. So
he's got the inside Lewin Davis kind of.
I have a meeting with a new venue tomorrow. This summer, I'll have a new venue that I'll be playing at. So I expect to see everybody at this place. Can't announce it yet though.
Ooh,
it's a good summer spot though.
Good stuff.
Amit goes too. Right. Amit goes too, but he's not on the show. But Amit's
not allowed to go out anymore. Nope. Amit's not allowed to go out. Sorry.
I think I've gotten
Amit, you're grounded. Amit, you're grounded. Check out our Patriots channel.
You know who else has come to a few shows?
Jimmy,
Taylor.
I'm rapping. Oh yeah,
Taylor Kyles.
Good like that.
Has John been?
I can't. I go all.
No chance, John's been. John's gone. You've been there. I don't think
John has not gone to one. He claims that he tried to a couple times, but we don't actually.
I don't go see
I went
music,
to one.
Jimmy.
I liked it.
You used to.
No, I'm just kidding. I went to like 25 concerts last year.
Well, not the most important one. Yeah, he's been to like. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not even gonna
I
say
did.
it.
I
End
think
the
I went
show.
to like. I think I went to like 23 concerts last year. But I'm gonna get out there. I promise. We will see you guys later. Shows back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday. Crack one, kid. You deserve it. All right.
Mhm.
Good night, everybody. Take
No
care.
one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me. I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're gonna do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to
Same.
feel that
Same
way.
to you.
Let's fight out over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke